And we are live. What's up, guys? Thank you for joining us for this special event. So I wanted to do something like where I just got together the best guys in pickup, and we all just give you guys a lot of value and a free masterclass. So I got Mr. Gabriel Grey from Surgical Pickup, Andrew Mioch from SQL, and John Anthony Lifestyle from John Anthony Lifestyle, formerly known as JMULV. So we're going to probably start off by just tackling a topic for 20 minutes or so. So you guys just feel free to post your questions, and then we're going to do live Q&A. So questions are going to be first come, first served basis. So if we don't get to your questions, then we'll try our best to get the next time, I guess, or something along the lines of that. All right, so the topic that most people voted for is how to build sexual tension. And I think that's something that a lot of guys struggle with. They just have no idea how to escalate, how to run dates, and how to do any of that. So let's just jump right into that. Let's go in order. So Gabriel, what are your thoughts on this?
Awesome. So thanks for having me, Alex. The way I see sexual tension is basically all these topics, all these concepts. It's interesting because it's this vague term that people just throw around, sexual tension. What does that mean? The way I see it, everything can be broken down into actual techniques, and it can be broken down into a few inner game mindsets that you need to have during those techniques. So the way I see sexual tension is that firstly, you can break it down verbally. So there's verbal escalation, verbal intent, and I think we need to keep going up the ladder. So basically a verbal escalation ladder, like starting off very slow, very subtle, calling her cute, keep going higher and higher. You've got an amazing body, very sexy, and you can transition into starting to talk about sex. I think a lot of guys see sexual tension as let's just start talking about sex with the girl, but I think there's a lot more techniques that can happen. Verbal escalation is just one. I'd say there's also non-verbals. Proximity is another, get closer, stronger eye contact. And basically and also you have to have certain mindsets during this process. But everything, to get started, the way I would break this down is everything can be broken down, in my opinion, into actual techniques and mindsets that you use those techniques under.
In my opinion, nonverbal is probably more important, like proximity, eye contact, body language is that's personally how I start to escalate. It's not just by talking about sex. It's more with like the little things.
The way I see it is, I think people really underestimate verbals in game in general. I believe verbals is a huge part, and basically, yes, the non-verbals are there. The non-verbals are important, but verbally, if verbals aren't happening, you can't, just by walking up close to her, just by holding the eye contact, it's going to be a bit creepy. It's going to be a bit weird. So verbally escalating, I believe, is extremely important, done in a calibrated way, and also having humor in the verbal escalation to release some of the tension. If the tension gets too high, I always use humor to break the tension. If I don't want to break the tension, I keep verbally escalating without any humor.
Andrew, I know this is a big thing with you because your whole thing is how to be a sex god. So how does building sexual tension fit into all this?
Awesome. Again, man, thanks for having me back, bro. It was really awesome to be on. We had a fucking awesome chat last time, man. So it's cool to be here. And I'll also make a distinction. I'll stay in my lane because I know we've got really good experts here with Gabriel, yourself, and John for specifically more the game and the dating aspect. I'll try and bring it the relatability board to the bedroom, dude. So that's how the angle I'll try and go for. With this, what I've done a lot, man. You might I like what Gabriel said. If my verbals have been really strong sexually, I'll be pulling back with my body language. But then if my body language is really strong, like proximity really close and the strong eye contact, relaxing the whole face and piercing her soul. It's kind of like I'm looking at you, I'm going to fuck you in the soul with my eye contact. And she can feel, well, that's intense. But then I might be just talking about mundane bullshit. And then she can just feel really go, whoa. Okay, so it's like an opposite consistently over time. Yeah. But then what's going to happen, man, it's just for me, I'm very strong, in the opposite to Gabe, actually, which is cool, a bit of diversity. I'm very much more strong with my physicality. I'll go in there strong and I'll look at it, I'm going to fuck you, but I'm also relaxing my whole body. And then the sexual tension, say in the bedroom, where I'm leaning over a chick and I can see oh, shit's going real. And I can just feel she's getting a little bit amped up. I'll maybe just even build the sexual tension, put my finger on her fucking mouth. I'm like, shh. Something as simple as that, and going shh, and putting my finger on her mouth, like you don't have to be.
Right?
When did he? Yeah, but not on the street. I'm talking in the bedroom, like that. When she's like, "What are you gonna do to me?" and I like put the fucking finger there. I'll put my hand over her mouth really gently, and then it's all consensual, and she's like playing along with that, and that's building up. Like I'm taking control, I'm taking the lead, and you know what? I've got you, and that brings in safety, brings in that sexual element. Like I'm gonna fucking take you, and she's like, you know what? I can really let go.
Good stuff, Mr. JMULV. What are your thoughts on this?
We gotta like intro ourselves. Like everybody's like, who the fuck are these people?
I kind of just took it for granted that everyone knew who you guys were, but yeah.
And Karisma King thought it was Sunday apparently. So
yeah, Karisma King will not be joining us.
I guess I can. Let's just do. Do you want to like start over or just like do a quick intro starting from the top, and then I'll do my turn after the intro.
Well, everyone knows who I am, Gabriel.
Yeah, I guess. What's up, guys? I'm Gabriel Grey from Surgical Pickup, and how I basically focus on technical game and not the wishy-washy principles of game, just getting very technical and what actually works and what actually gets results. And yeah, that's what I focus on.
Cool, man. Yo, so I'm back again, as I said. So I'm Andrew from Sexual Quantum Leap. So these guys will teach you how to get a woman to the bedroom, but it's like really how to have the most mind-blowing experience. And we always like have the promise, like how to be the best a woman's had. So that's what we do. And it's like, here's some technical shit, but then also here's some really deep emotional shit as well. And like adding like those both philosophies. So then we can go, how can we actually build the sexual tension? But here's actually specific things to do, man. So that's how we roll.
John?
Let's see. Should I start with the RSD days? No, I started working for RSD in 2012. Branched off to teach something that was useful in 2013. And then here we are. So I guess I'm the lay count guy officially, right? I'm like the weirdo that cares about banging lots of girls. So okay, so what's the question? Is how do we?
It's kind of gay.
How do we sexualize?
Yeah, how to build sexual tension.
I think the biggest thing, like going off what Gabriel said, like I instruct my students to just use "that's what she said" on almost like any sentence. It can apply to even the most non-sexual sentences to make them sexual, and it's like a very easy one to remember. So I tell guys to kind of like come out like fairly guns blazing until they hit a point where the chick's like, whoa. Because most guys are doing the direct opposite and they're trying to play it safe, or they're not trying to say anything sexual or be physical because they're afraid of the girl being offended. And most of them haven't tried it yet. So it's kind of like the same thing as the fear of approach. Guys are like, okay, if I don't approach, I won't have to face all this like pain stuff. It's the same thing they think it's going to happen with sexuality, but most girls are going to be okay with that and expect you to do it. And if you don't do it, you're going to probably lose the girl. In terms of physicality, I like the whole like step, very small jumps, the light touches. I think on your like super popular escalation video, what you were saying about just doing the light touches and all that stuff, building up. Yeah, it's insane because most guys will go from like not even kissing or anything to like going hardcore, and it's like too much of a jump. And that's
John, can you share that story about that client you had who would like bring girls back and then he would just get naked? I think it was you that told me that.
Yeah, so I was running like a pickup mansion in Vegas in 2013. There was like 5 guys living there, and I taught them really good how to pull, but I wasn't teaching them like the rest of like what to. I just assumed people would know what to do with the girl back. I learned like very quickly that's not the case. But he was kind of an extreme example where he's like, dude, I'm not closing any of my pulls. Like I'm pulling like all the time. I'm not closing. I'm like, all right, walk me through it. What happens when you get back to the room? He's like, we go in the room, like I get naked and put on a condom. And I was like, what the fuck? I was like, are you like touching her clit or like are you doing any foreplay? He's like, no, what do you mean? So yeah, I mean, that's like an extreme example, but most guys don't set the frame sexual on dates or in in-person interactions. And then they pay for it later because the girl either is like, what the fuck are you doing? Or they get friend zone, and it just like decreases probabilities across the board to like pull home, to take the girl home from the date, or to actually close once you're back at the house. It's
funny, that story, when girls ask me to give specifics about my job, like, well, how do you help men? was like, all right, you want to hear a funny story? And I tell that story as if it was me who was like instructing that guy. And chicks love that story because it's so relatable to them. Because every girl has had a guy that maybe not to that extreme, but who was like really bad escalating. So then they start, oh yeah, well one time I had this blah 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 blah. So I find that
one other really quick stupid story is like I had another client that was like, okay, let me logic this out. She's back at the house. How do I get her clothes off? Let's do strip poker.
I remember the story.
And then like it's like 2 hours in, and like he's like I think either naked or like practically naked, and the chick was like only had like her shirt off. And then she's like, oh, this is kind of weird. I'm gonna leave. And then so what he did was like he was like trying to like come grab her boobs as like a last ditch effort. I don't know. So but you won't really run into any kind of issues if you're just doing like this really kind of like stepwise thing. Like when it gets to sex, it shouldn't just be like some big jump. Or I've had clients that are, this is the last thing I'll say, they'll be like doing a makeout on the couch, and then they go to try to lead to the bedroom, and the girl's like committing mentally to having sex if she goes in the bedroom. So like skipping steps. Not every girl will be opposed to that, but some will. It's like ruining the middle ground.
Personally,
I was going to say, boys, that's where it starts. It doesn't. The sex. Everyone thinks the sex starts with what you're saying with that story in the bedroom. It doesn't. The sex starts for when you open. That's basically when they feel that fucking tension. It might be a little bit of tension, or depending on calibrating to the situation. And that's where Gabe's taught me a lot as well. It's like, it basically starts when you're saying hi and you're opening from that progression forward. Instead of guys like, yo, I'm at the bedroom. It's time to fucking rock and roll. It's like, no, it's not, man. It's like the sex in the woman's mind has started when you open the conversation.
Yeah, and the way I see it is because even some of these principles can be vague in themselves. Like, how do you do, like, there's this whole concept of man to woman. Like, for me, that doesn't really mean anything. What does man to woman actually mean? There's specific ways to create more sexual intent. And John was saying one through misinterpretation, sexual misinterpretation, a lot more verbal escalation, there's physical escalation, there's it's not like lots of guys just think, okay, man to woman, I don't understand what those words mean personally. It's just like, okay, tell her you sexually want to sleep with her. And it's, besides for just skipping steps, it's also a misunderstanding of what the principle actually is. So it's missing steps, as John said, but it's also not understanding that there's actually techniques that you can do to create the same result.
I think you guys summed it up pretty well. I'll just add a few things that are small details that I do. So in terms of techniques, one thing I do is if we're on the couch and I'm making out with a girl and it's getting sexual, I don't just ask her to go in my room. I actually pick her up and carry her to my room. And literally every chick across the board, maybe with one or two exceptions, likes that. Like all girls get turned on. It's like a very dominant alpha move. Other things that I do. Definitely strong eye contact. I think that's huge. I also will comment. So if a girl has good eye contact, I'll say, wow, you actually have really good eye contact. Those chicks don't. So I'll definitely say that. And then when you say that, the girl's going to be more inclined to then prove herself and keep her strong eye contact. Versus if she has really bad eye contact, I'll playfully call it out. I'll be like, where are you looking? Like, my eyes are here. I'm like, come on, are you afraid of eye contact? And the girl will be like, oh, yeah, just a little awkward. I'll be like, all right, listen. Let's do 5 seconds of eye contact. Then you can fucking look around, tick around. Those are just 5 seconds. And then that's kind of how one of the ways I'll start to build sexual tension. Another thing I do, as I talked about in my 500,000 viewed video that I shot thinking I wasn't even going to put it on YouTube, is a lot of light touches. So way before I ever go for the makeout or really start talking about like extremely sexual things, I'll touch her lightly and I'll feel out the vibe. So if I put my hand on her knee and she flinches, okay, I know I need more comfort. Most of the time, that's not going to happen. Most of the time, she's cool with it. So then I'll touch her more. I'll keep my hand on her knee. I'll find like little excuses to touch her. The other thing I'll do is, this is a little bit forward, but I'll brush my hand past her hair. I'll just casually talking about completely random shit, and I'll just brush her hair back. That's it. And I don't address it. I don't say anything about it. I just do that, and I can just feel like some sexual tension when I do that. When I bring chicks back and we go on my balcony or I'm on any balcony, commonly what I'll do is I'll just stand behind the girl on the balcony and put my arms right here. I don't like address it. I just stand there and just have a normal conversation. But this way, I'm whispering in her ear, kind of got that Titanic role play going. So I'm just I slow down my speech a little bit. I quiet down. I'm just kind of standing behind her like this. And that builds a lot of sexual tension. Then, and once I feel like she's comfortable with that, and I slowly start like getting closer and rubbing my cock against like her ass or whatever. So I find that's another thing that works quite well. Another thing I do is I have my Hitachi magic wand, which will credit to JMULV for introducing me to that. I keep it on my nightstand drawer, and sometimes I keep handcuffs there. So when a girl goes back to my room, she just sees the sex toys. And I find that's a really good way. Like, guys are usually afraid to do that, but honestly, every chick gets curious. Like, not every chick is down to use a sex toy, but every chick is going to be like, oh, what do you keep those there for? And I'll try to downplay it. I'll be like, oh, that's a back massager. She's like, doesn't look like a back massager. I'm like, mine out the gutter. Like, this whole thing, like, you see how it works.
Everyone needs to buy a Hitachi. Like, I have all my clients get one, and they're all like, oh my God. It's just like a huge advantage in the bedroom.
It's a game changer, especially if your sex game is not on point. You can make literally every single girl come with that thing, versus some girls can have a really hard time coming from just, penetration.
And then, with the Hitachi as well, it's really good, man. Like holding it on the fucking clit and then making your chick squirt at the same time. Like just that alone, or getting her to hold it back like this on her clit while you're like going down on it, or you can be fucking making it pop. Those two moves alone, man, as like, it's like even if you can't fuck and you can't, like guys have ED or premature ejaculation, just doing that alone, the chick's like, yo, I'm coming back.
Yeah, they associate it all with you. It's like it's like fucking crack. But I like give one to like a main chick or whatever. But I don't know. I like giving sex from.
Yeah, I've given some away.
Yeah, but that's confidence, man. Like the thing is, some guys are good. I can't give a toy to a chick because I'll lose the chick. I'm like, bro, that's a self-esteem thing that we're talking about now. I'm like, give that chick because then she associates it every time she sees that toy. She's thinking of you, and the toy is only an extension of your arm anyway. And then when you're doing this shit, like, damn.
Is that like an MSP anchor or something? It's like
ever is just coming straight to your house only to use your toy. Like a $50 toy. Like how bad does your game and sex game have to be? Or that's the only reason the girl's coming over. Yeah, I really hate this guy, and he smells like shit, but he has this $50 toy, and, I'm in college, so. Yeah, I'll add one more thing to my whatever list. Another thing I'll do is I started doing this actually a few years ago, fairly recent in terms of the grand scheme of things. But I try to figure out the girl's kinks. I discovered that one night when I was on a date with this chick who was being really difficult to pull back and just kept like rejecting my advances. So I find that like leveraging a girl's kinks can be huge. And typically speaking, a girl's going to be into either having her hair pulled, being choked, or being spanked. Like it's going to be one of those three for sure. In terms of kissing, a girl have these what we call them erogenous zones. It's going to be one of these three things. It's going to be her ear, her neck, or her collarbone. It's going to be one of those three, like 98% of the time. So I'll try to find her spot, and I'll do that just by kind of feeling out. Just even putting your hand here or here, just gently, or here. You can kind of just, if you pay attention to her eyes and her body language, you can almost just like tell. And once you figure out what her, her big kink is, if you just leverage that, like, you're probably going to pull. It's very likely.
Yeah, I think add to that. I mean, for the guys, like obviously we've got the bedroom, and then we've also got the pickup. I think some general tips here, like the way I see it, is that in the beginning, in the pickup, you want to sexualize with humor involved, and the longer the pickup goes, the less the humor will be there, and you just sexualize in a genuine way. So because humor will reduce the tension, in the beginning, you don't want too much tension to be there, so you sexualize verbally, you bring in humor, and the longer the interaction goes, you take out the humor and you just sexualize in a genuine way. So how it could look like, just certain lines to guys, is it might be little jokes like, oh, you're very cute in a sexy way, do you do yoga, whatever it is. You make a joke about it, you make a tease, and the longer the interaction goes, you drop the humor, you keep sexualizing in a genuine way. So because a lot of guys, they have issues when they sexualize verbally, they can't handle the tension. So they laugh, they're uncomfortable, they can't actually handle the tension of just telling the girl that she's sexy or anything like that. They can't handle the tension of speaking about sex with a girl. They always need to bring humor in because they can't personally handle the tension of talking about it. So they bring humor in just to laugh and giggle around it. So basically guys have to get comfortable with sexualizing without needing to break the tension. She should be the one breaking the tension. It shouldn't necessarily be you.
Agreed. Gabriel, you kind of, the internet kind of broke out a little bit. Are you connected well?
Yeah.
It kind of froze.
Whoa.
So we got Alex just left.
Alex is gone.
So it wasn't even you, man. It was Alex. I don't know if it says we're still live. So
Yeah, let's keep going. John, what's your thoughts in terms of how would you progress sexualizing from the open all the way to the pull?
Just lost the seat. Say again. From where?
How do you see in terms of progressing it? Is it a verbal progression? Is it a physical progression?
I'm doing verbal from the very open. I'm typically doing physical as well. But I really amp up the physicality in isolation. Like a night game, I'll try to isolate within the first 2 minutes, and then I'll amp up all the physical escalation, like in isolation. Because once you've isolated,
is the connection good for?
I can hear you guys.
Yeah, we're good now.
Jesus Christ!
very good.
Are you on dial-up or what?
Yeah, can you guys all see and hear this? It kind of keeps coming in and out for me.
Yeah, I think it's you, man. We're all good.
We're all clear. It's gonna like show them in like serious poses.
Yeah, John, if you just want to keep going, man, you may as well just keep talking because we're still live.
Are we still talking about sexualization?
I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I tell guys, like on a date, for instance, I think that the key to closing a huge number of girls or at least getting a lot of consistent results is just mass setting dates. And
Yeah, I don't know. The Wi-Fi keeps like knocking me off, but let's just keep going because it was good for the first 20 minutes.
Okay. I was saying like guys should be trying to mass set dates. So like polling is all well and good, but if you're stacking like 2 or 3 dates a day throughout the week, which is very easy if you get a lot of volume of numbers, then the 2 biggest things on the date is to sexualize and set the frame to pull the girl home. So the sexualized part, it's literally just making innuendos and kind of just going forward with making those kinds of remarks until she kind of puts up a wall and is like, what are you doing?
Yo, John, let me ask you this. Like pretty much everyone on this panel is pretty funny and has a good sense of humor. But a lot of guys just fucking have no humor. What do you recommend for those guys? Like, because they're not going to be able to make funny innuendos. So what should those guys do?
Drink.
There we go.
No, I mean, I tell guys, I like call my students out, and I'm like, don't be so fucking serious, because like you can tell like whenever a guy's too serious, he's starting to get a lot of feedback from girls who are like, hey, I don't think this is gonna work out, or like you seem really nice or whatever. But I always tell them to ask. This is another good thing you can do to like find holes in your game. Like ask the girls, be like straight up, it's not gonna bother me. What happened here? And then they'll be like, oh, you're too serious. You're too serious. And when the girls tell them, it like really registers, I think, a lot harder than me just being like, dude, stop being so serious. So I just tell them to try to like, I don't know. It's hard to be congruently serious if many of you. But
God, fucking man, why does this thing keep knocking me
I'm
off?
not into the whole like improv approach or any of that stuff. Like Todd V says, like do improv or like whatever and.
I think the way I would look at that is because some guys just can't be creative. They can't even bring that in. I just say, okay, verbal escalation ladder, call the girl cute, then call her sexy, then talk about her body, then talk about overall sex. Do it in a way that resonates with them. But that's a start. That's a structure. And you have to keep going. If you've called her cute, the next step is calling her sexy. The next step is commenting on her body. Next step is commenting on specific sexual body parts. The next step after that is speaking about sex. And it's just like, okay, if you're scared to progress, what's the next level? You're on level 1, go to level 2. But yeah, I mean.
But what are you saying, Gabe, as well? Gabe, you're saying stay, because we've talked about this. You're very similar to this as well, John. You teach your clients that. It's like stay at that same level until you basically progressed. and don't move on and just keep calibrating, move forward, move back, move forward, move ahead?
Well, I wouldn't say don't move on, because it's almost like what John said. Lots of guys don't have the calibration of when, and they're just too scared. They just never move on, and they're too scared to ramp up the intent. So it's basically like move on no matter what in a calibrated way. Obviously, always make sure that the girl is comfortable, but move on, because most guys are not moving too quickly, they're moving too slowly. So move on, always do it in a calibrated way, always make sure the girl's comfortable, but progress it forward. Most interactions from guys, they don't go anywhere because the guys don't progress it. Sexual escalation and progressing it sexually, that's just one part of progressing it, but it's also moving the set, logistical escalation, isolation, all down to actually making it go forward. And the issue for most guys is they're not doing certain things to actually make it go forward.
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
Alex, I want to touch on what you said before, man, before we move way too far, about like the erogenous zones when you're kissing. That's all spot on, man. There's one thing I want to add on that, which is fucking cool. The guys can actually use practically when they go out or in the bedroom. It doesn't matter. When you're there, as you said, running the hand through the back of the hair. Most guys look really shit because they're kind of like pulling the ends of the hair. Running the hand right the way back, getting close to the roots, then getting close to her head and like getting close to her ear and whispering in her ear and saying, I found your spot. I've said that in the bedroom for such a long time because 95% of chicks with what you'll do will bite them there or on the back of the neck. It's going to send goosebumps down their whole body. And then when you just go, I found your spot, they're like, fuck, how does he know my body so well? And then it's automatically turning them on so much. So, man, it's pretty much exactly what you said, but just adding that little thing in there, it's just like a little key, man.
Yeah, for sure, dude. Another thing I'll do is I'll run my nails down their back, like very gently. That's also a lot of chicks get into that. Let me just add a few things before we move on from this topic. So one thing, going to what John said about running high volume. So I think that's going to help for sure, indirectly and directly. When you have high volume, you're going to be much less attached to the outcome. So you're going to be much more, fearless. You're just not going to give a shit. Like if a date is not going anywhere, you're going to be much more inclined to be like, all right, fuck it, have a good night, right? You don't give a shit because you have another 3 girls that are down to come over that night. Versus if you're in complete scarcity, which I think unfortunately a lot of guys are, you're just like, this is my only shot this week. Like if I fuck this girl, like I'm jerking off for the next 5 to 7 days. Like this is all I got. Like
go for the Hail Mary when she's running away from the strip poker.
You're just attached to the outcome so much. So that's one thing that I want to add on. Another is I always teach guys to hammer their strengths. So like, for example, like I'll use myself, right? What am
hammer
I
your strengths? I'm just showing the hammer.
Oh yeah, hammer, yeah. So one of the things, for example, I got going for me is humor, right? I'm pretty funny. I was born somewhat funny. I'll say that's probably honestly my biggest one, right? What I'm not good at is I'm not good at like emotional connections because I don't know, I guess I'm like partially emotionally retarded or whatever due to things that there's no point getting into. So, I'm not going to try to build a deep connection with a girl, on the first date. That's simply not something I'm good at, right? Like, sure, is it something I could work on? Yeah, but like, I already know I can get her like with attraction just by being funny and just escalating and just kind of pulling. And also going back to what Gabriel said about how there's different ways to escalate. So that's 100% true. Like, for example, some guys just get stuck on one way. They're like, okay, I'm at the bar. I got to get the make out. And they can't get the make out. And they're just focused on the make out. Versus sometimes they miss that the issue isn't that the girl doesn't want to make out with them. Maybe she just doesn't want to make out in public. I had a date, it was like a month ago, with this chick who was like extremely socially retarded, right? She was just like, I had to carry the whole conversation. It was a public date. Like, literally, it was just me carrying the whole thing, right? She just like was just hot and just basically sat there. So, in public, when I was like, just building sexual tension, she wasn't pulling back directly, but she was just like, so. So then I brought her back to my place. She's like, oh, this is your place. I don't know, blah, blah, blah. So I was like, oh, just listen, we're just hanging out for 20 minutes and then you can go off on your way. So bring her back inside, take her on my balcony. I started trying to make out with her on my balcony. And she also kind of like, she's like pulling back a little bit. And I just kind of like, what's up? She's like, I don't know. I'm afraid of doing it in public. I was like, okay. And then we went inside and it was just totally game on, right? But it was like, if I hadn't pulled her back and got her in a place where she was more comfortable, like, my living room, with a bang couch, like it wouldn't have happened. Like if I kept trying to make out with her outside, she would have just kept rejecting me. So I think that's really important to not just get so stuck in one track.
I think, again, for guys listening in, it's about just get the girl. You can optimize your game to get the girl, but also, do you want to improve your game? That's another side, because you might be strong at verbal escalation and you can just rely on that to get the girl. But if your physical escalation is weak, what I would encourage guys is not just focusing on getting the girl, also focusing on improving your game. So if you're relying on your strength, like let's say verbal escalation, I would tell guys, stop verbally escalating. Don't verbally escalate anymore. It's physical escalation now. If you're only good at physical escalation, stop physically escalating and start doing some verbal escalation. Basically, lots of students are too attached to their strengths, and there's weaknesses which they're not improving. But this is only if guys really want to get their game better. They have to drop their strengths and also focus on their weaknesses.
I think infield helps a lot. Like I have my guys go through like 10 of my infield dates, and they see exactly how I'm sexualizing and escalating over and over and over. And then it's like very obvious after that.
Yeah.
I think it definitely is to some guys. I feel like what I've noticed with guys who get my product, there's generally two categories. There's the guys who go through my product and within a week or two, they just get it. Like they're like, dude, this is fucking epic. I'm getting it. There's guys who, again, not shitting on them, but who've been in my mastermind for a year and have made very minimal progress, right? It's not they don't have all the information. Like I'm giving them the same exact information I give to the first group of guys. But I just find certain guys just need to fail like 100 fucking times and just to have it, I don't know, they're like socially retarded, something like that. They just need to have like the correct information like hammered into their head. And then what I find with them, what happens is they have the correct information, start doing good for a period of time, and they slack off a little bit, and it's almost like they forget about it. I'm not really sure how that happens. So I find there's two categories of guys who, when it comes to this kind of stuff. Have you guys kind of observed the same kind of thing?
I've seen it with Gabriel as well, man. Like we're in Bali at the moment. We literally live 2 minutes away from each other. We used to live together for like 4 or 5 months. The guy was like, man, beast in it. Like, I'm like, fuck. And he's like showing me a lot of stuff about like more specifics about the verbals, man. So even just like as much as I've looked into some stuff, man, like Gabriel really broke it down. He goes, yeah, your verbals are on, your physical is on point, but then my verbals is like the escalation ladder is like so important. Like simple shit like this. It's like, because I come more from a natural background. I know John, yourself as well, and Gabe are like very fucking detailed orientated and very like nuanced with the way that you like see shit. My brain doesn't work like that. Mine's been just like very good, like my physicals being up close proximity, but sometimes I would be very uncalibrated, which would fuck up, you know. But then like talking to Gabe, he goes, bro, this is how you can do it more succinctly. So even on the escalation, because we're talking about that, it gave me more awareness to go, oh, this is how I can be more discerning in the moment, depending on what the woman needs, not just relying on my quote unquote emotional intelligence of seeing how she responds.
And it's also, it's like, where are guys at? Some guys have never shown any form of sexual intent ever to a woman. For them, I would recommend, okay, just have the word sexy and throw it into the bloody conversation. Just try, just throw it in.
You're so sexy.
It'll probably be weird, but throw it in and start somewhere. I mean, that's how I looked at it when I was first learning. Start it, because if you're scared to show intent, it's going to be hard to think about all these things, physical escalation and all the crazy stuff that Andrew's talking about in the bedroom. I mean, he's really good at all that stuff. It's just like throw it in and then do more and then do more and then start to calibrate. But the way I see it is the best way to learn all this stuff is first understand all the techniques and principles and then just bring it in and then just try and then just experiment.
Yeah, you have to actually go out and do it. There's a lot of like theory junkies, but like just reading theory all day, every day is not gonna get you shit.
Sure, there's a bit of both. I mean, just having too much theory and not taking action gets you nowhere. Just taking action and not having any theory also gets you nowhere.
Yeah, there's definitely a fine balance. All right, do you guys have any more final thoughts on this topic before we get into the Q&A?
Well, I think stuff to do with the specific. Once you get the girl to the bedroom, I mean, Andrew's the expert on that, but yeah, I think going to a Q&A.
John, do you have any final thoughts before we get into the Q&A on this topic?
No, you should ban some of these little fags in the chat. There's like look at this is like exactly what's wrong with the community. There's like a whole bunch of dudes like trying to analyze like any little micro thing happening and being like,
who gives a shit? There's always gonna be trolls in the chat. I just completely ignore them. I don't give a shit. Sometimes, occasionally, I will shit on them when some funny troll remark comes to mind. But anyway, so when I got kicked off the thing, I lost some of the comments. So guys, if I don't get to your comment and you feel like you have a legitimate question, it's not because I'm skipping it, it's because my Wi-Fi fucked me. So just repost your comment again. I'm gonna do my best to get to it. All right, so I have to screen out the troll questions. Okay, let's start with this. How many girls do you have in your rotation so we can all answer this? John, it starts with you. I can see one. There's at least one. One plus.
I said in the chat. There's another one on the way over. I told you, like, when Alex asked me to do this, I'm like, this is when we do all our fucking crazy shit on Saturday night. But I'm gonna actually have the girls like give some input in the background if anybody gives a shit about girls' opinions. Right now there's about 15. 8 of them are on threesome rotation. So I have a video on my channel. I might cover it up by the fucking.
Dude, I don't know how the fuck you managed that many girls.
Yeah, that's what I was just going to say, because 15 is, yeah, I mean, I've got a spreadsheet. I actually give guys a specific spreadsheet to keep track and kind of optimize the spreadsheet, but I don't know how you're managing more than even 8.
And so
dude, I keep it around 3, honestly. Like if I don't like a girl, then I replace her with someone else. But when it gets above like 4 for me, that's like already too much.
Yeah, John, I don't, man, that's crazy, boys. Like, I do max 3. I'm actually in a monogamous relationship at the moment, but fuck, you guys doing like 15 or 8, like, fuck, how do you have time to do anything else? Unless that's all that you do, which is cool, you know? Like, fuck.
I do a lot of other shit. I just like to have a lot of variety. Like me and this girl here that just came, who's gonna be coming on some videos. We have like, there's like 8 threesome rotation chats. So we have like, it's like me, her, and a girl in like 8 different chats. And like, we'll go to the beach with them, like go to dinner with them and shit. It's like my face is being like, but basically like that's something new I've been doing the past 6 months. Just like combining, and then we'll like combine someone for foursomes. Then her and I have had, the next one is going to be, this girl's a repeat girl. But the next one that we have set up for tomorrow is going to be number 11 with her, just new girls. And that's just threesomes with her. And then there's been like threesomes with other ones. But that's really cool because the girls become like close friends. And there's like, since it's in a group chat, like you guys all like bond together. Like whenever there's like a picture of me and my main girl, we like send pictures and like flirt with them together. I just like to have a variety. I like to have like chicks of different races, like some with big boobs, some with big ass, some that are like partier, some that are like 3 is far too restrictive in terms of like the capacity of like each one's personality and physicality. So I like to see it all as like one big kind of conglomerate super girlfriend. Me and the main girl, we're like technically boyfriend girlfriend, but she knows my job, and like we get girls from cold approach and from just mostly from combining girls in my rotation. But I just like to have a big variety just because there's, you know, some of them have like tattoos and piercings and whatever. So I just like to have like a nice sampling of different things.
I want to build on this question. I think it'd be cool if we all share like our top 1 or 2 things that are most important for like having a rotation. Like what, like our personal approach to keeping a rotation. Yeah, let's start off. Gabriel, you want to go first?
Yeah, for sure. So I would look at I would say the most important is admin and management. How like even bringing it down to, I think a spreadsheet helps so much. Like really having some form of way to track when are you seeing the girls, how often, what like the dynamic between each, because otherwise they just fall out of the rotation because you forget to see the girl once a week or once every 2 weeks, you forget to see them. So to me, it's just really focusing on the management aspect, really focusing on the admin aspect, making sure that you keep track of however many it is. When I was usually going for like 8 to 10, it was the management aspect was the most important.
Mate, you boys are insane. Like seriously, my rotations usually wouldn't be more than 3 because like my time management, and I'd want to do other things as well. And I get like the obsession. Like I'd have probably 2, 3 girls max, on rotation just because like I didn't have to do spreadsheets and shit. My brain doesn't function like that. I'm like, yo, I'd rather do other shit. Like John's like 15. I'm like, mate, I'm like, fucking hell, John. And then Gabe's like doing 8 to 10. So what I do, man, I just keep it simple. I'd see the girls once a week. I wouldn't do much more than that, man. And then I go, for my capacity, I'm like, I'd rather do other shit, but that's just me. So it was pretty simple, dude.
For me at the moment now, I also stick to 3 where I try and have one main girl and bringing in 2 others. So that's generally because otherwise it's like, fuck, I can't do anything else. Can't focus on anything else. And then my life basically falls apart.
Oh.
Yeah, I remember you on the couch. Gabe was on the couch when he had a rotation. I think it was like 5, 6 girls, and then some of them were leaving Bali. And he's like, he looks fucking disheveled. He's like, oh man, this is too much. I need some time to myself, which was fucking crazy. I'm like, what's wrong, mate?
Good tip on rotations is just so it's going to have an emotional.
Gabriel looks like a heroin addict. He's like all strung out. It's like, yo, man, have you been doing meth or something? Nah, man.
He was on the couch like this going, fuck, I can't do anymore, man. He's just like, I need a detox. I think you had, a detox for like maybe 3-4
I need
days.
rehab. Yeah.
Look, I think that's an also important topic is managing it properly from your own like physical standpoint. Like how you take seeing all these girls every single day. And I think some people are different. I'm more introverted, but yeah, if you're seeing girls all the time, every day, so many girls, you might need a break. You might need to take 3 days off where you see no woman.
Yeah, here's my take on this. First of all, I don't think there's a right or wrong answer when it comes to how big your rotation should be. The only thing that matters, are you sexually satisfied with what you got going on? Yes or no? If you are, like for some people, some people have way higher sex drives than others. Like,
Can you try to change the configuration, like so it's like 3 at the top?
It doesn't give me that option.
I'm trying to get in here, I'm getting cut off.
Him.
There we go.
I remember this one.
We can roll with this. All right, so here's my take. So one, there's no right or wrong number. It just comes down to whether you're legitimately satisfied with your sex life or not. 2, a big thing for me is making sure that the girl is sexually satisfied with you, especially if it's non-monogamous, it's just a booty call. Like she should be coming after your sessions. 3, not being needy. I think that's a mistake a lot of guys make. They just get needy. They think even though they're not in a relationship with a girl, they feel like they're entitled to all what's she doing, like all that kind of shit. So don't get needy. That's going to be a low value move. And trying to think, what else do I do? Having a good time with a girl, I don't know, you should be able to have fun with her outside of just fucking her, because if not, then what's really the point? I don't know, sex is great, but I don't know, I like to be able to also have a good time with a girl, in and out of bed. Whether that means you do activities with her, or just me personally would just fucking get high and play with my dog, whatever it is that you like to do. And I'm trying to think what else. I would say also, I see this mistake a lot. So guys are always talking about, how do I game my girlfriend? How do I game my rotation girl? What should I text, or what should I do this? I put as much thought into my rotation girls, into texting them, as I do texting my close friends, which means that obviously I care about my friends, but I'm not thinking about, okay, how do I text Gabriel to get him to do this? I need to think of the good text, oh, let me ask the guys in the mastermind. I just say what I want to say. Right? What's in you, girl? Yeah, you should put some thought into the game aspect of it. What's a rotation girl? I do zero gaming of girls who I'm seeing. I do zero gaming of my friends. I do zero gaming of rotation girls, right? I just treat them literally like a friend who I fuck. Simple as that, friends with benefits. So I think that's also another thing that I see guys commonly doing, is they're trying to game their rotation girls. And at the end of the day, it's just low value. It's as low value as trying to game your friends. If your buddies found out that you're trying to game them, they would think you're a fag. Same thing with this kind of thing.
I think it's great what you said, Alex, about everyone's different. You got JMULV on the extreme at the moment, which is beautiful. He has 15 girls in rotation. Then I'm like, hey, yo, I'm in a monogamous relationship. I'm truly fulfilled. It's what really truly gives you that fulfillment instead of doing something out of scarcity, man. That's the fucking big difference, man. So I love that point you brought up.
Yeah, I only got 2 girls in my rotation right now. One just recently dropped off. I'm cool with it. Probably looking
the way I would say it is, what does the specific student want? Some guys just want an awesome girlfriend. Other guys want a rotation. But the thing is, it's not about just what you want. It's also, you have the skills to get it. Because some guys will say, I don't want a rotation. I just want my one dream girl, but they can't even get a rotation.
Right.
So fine, wanting a relationship, wanting a monogamous relationship, wanting an open relationship, wanting rotations. I believe you should have the skills to get everything, and then you choose what you really want.
100% agree with that. John, do you have any final thoughts on things that you personally do to?
I don't think you have to like make it. We're kind of like making like this dichotomy, like, oh, you have to choose this or this, or I think you can have like the best of both worlds. Like me and my girl are like super in love. We're like really close. We share everything together. But at the same time, we can like be like, hey, do you want to have a girl over tonight? Yeah. Hey, do you want to have a girl over this night? Yeah. So it's like, it's not like you have to be like a diehard player. And I'm like really close with a bunch of other girls. You know, it's you don't need to be just like this heartless player or like have a monogamous relationship or have like a small, you don't even need to see, having like 15 girls doesn't mean you need to see them all the time. You don't do anything else. Like I go to the gym all the time. I do martial arts, do a lot of business stuff. You can have a big rotation and still have a fulfilling life as well.
I'll just more bring it back to being relatability because John, like dudes, when they hear 15 girls, they're like, man, some guys like, bro, I can't even get one. And like they see you as the godfather in a lot of ways, been doing this for how many years, bro? So it's just like more the relatability.
I think for some guys that's literally outside their late count isn't even 15. Like to them, the idea of having 15 girls on rotation is like, I don't know, like the equivalent of like telling some guy in the Amazon jungle that, you know, we have like a space program, like we go to outer space. And, like, you know, like to him, it's just like, you like can't even imagine that. That's a quick side note. All right, let's jump into the next question because we kind of stayed on this one for a while. How should I deal with seeing a girl try to hook up when I see her in public if I didn't leave the best impression? She was into me in my space, she was off, and turned on her anti-slut defense. I would just, honestly, personally, I would just pretend like it never happened. I would just treat her like whatever, like any chick who, whatever, I'm friends with, I'm trying to bang. I wouldn't like make a big deal out of the fact that I unsuccessfully try to hook up with her. Because if you make a big deal out of it, it's going to be a big deal in her mind. If you pretend like it's no big deal, then she's just going to wonder if it actually is a big deal or not. What say the rest of you?
I mean, that's a very broad question. If your interaction didn't go well, think about why it didn't go well. Analyze your interactions. Analyze what you did wrong. You could always ask the girl what you did wrong. I have a specific template that I usually tell students to send out to the girl if it goes badly to get actual feedback from the girl. Basically, just honest feedback. I mean, yeah, if interactions don't go well, analyze why they didn't go well and try and rectify that.
Gabriel, can you share how you would recommend to guys to approach getting honest feedback from girls? Because I find that in and of itself is a challenge.
Yeah, so generally, let's say if the date goes badly or they can't see her again or anything like that, it's generally a message, something like, hey there, just want your honest opinion. I really want feedback because I value your insights. I'm just interested to know why. Was there anything that I said or did to turn you off? Was there anything I said or did that made you not want to see me? Because I don't want to repeat this with other women. And generally, there's around it's like a 40% success rate in terms of the girls that will respond to that and actually give you information. And the way I tell guys is never make an assumption based on what one girl says. But if you start to see patterns, so many different girls are actually saying to you, you know what, you looked at me in a creepy way, or you said these wrong. If you get a pattern, then start to formulate an assumption of, I need to make a change. But if you're not getting feedback from women, I mean, John also mentioned this earlier on, if you're not getting feedback from girls and you're only getting feedback maybe from your PUA
guys in the forum.
Yeah, it's like you need to, but again, don't get feedback from one girl, try get enough feedback so you can see patterns.
One thing I personally do is I don't do so much feedback in terms of like the date, but I do a lot of feedback for my Tinder pictures. Like I'm relentless in testing Tinder pictures. So I'll literally, like, sometimes on a date after I hook up with a girl, I'm like, all right, let's go through my Tinder pictures now. Which one of these made you most interested in meeting me? So I'll be relentless. I also used to, when I was writing the product, do a lot of feedback on TextGame. So I would be like, all right, let's go through your Tinder and see how these guys are messaging you. And I would just like spend 20, 30 minutes like grilling her why she didn't meet up with this guy, why she met up with that guy. Like it was like a borderline investigation. So yeah, that's one thing I personally do.
I mean, there's also something else. I like to, with the girl, go through the girl's Tinder account, and you see the guys that she swiped on, you see the pictures, you see and you start to just have conversations with her. Why? Why did you do this? And again, you might be responding emotionally, but you can still formulate some patterns.
Yeah, patterns are big. I like what you said, like kind of like you don't just want to take what one girl said, because girls will be biased more often than not. So you want to look for patterns and then, kind of take the information you get, and interpret it correctly.
Oh, well, it's like, I mean, some guys, they will tell me, Gabriel, I used the technique that you said and I got rejected. Maybe I shouldn't do it. And I'm saying, I mean, the rejection could come for any reason. If you get rejected 10 times in a row by using the same technique, then you need to think about what you're doing wrong. But otherwise, there's so many variables in game that you can't just create an assumption based on one reaction from it.
Dude, I have a guy, I have a new roommate. Me and him went out yesterday, and I was teaching him a little bit about cold approach.
I missed your old roommate.
But whatever. Definitely better than the average person. So we were out, and then I was talking to 2 girls, and I was telling him for the past week that if I'm talking 2 or 3 girls, he should feel free to come into the conversation, right? So I'm like, dude, come in. It's okay, dude. You're not. And he came in, and just so happened that right around the time he came in, the girls were leaving, but they would have left naturally. And then after the conversation, I could tell he was down and out. I was like, dude, what's up? He's like, well, I rooted for you. I was like, what? He's like, yeah. Right after I came in, they left. I was like, dude, they were leaving anyway. You're completely misinterpreting what happened. So yeah, it's important to actually interpret reality correctly.
Sure.
All right. Do you guys have any thoughts, John, Andrew, before we jump to the next question?
I'll just keep moving. I mean, the situation there is have you ever have you moved too fast or whatever, and she thought you were being too pushy or whatever, just explain it away. Oh, sorry, I was really attracted to you. Didn't mean to come off so strong. And then just chill back the next time.
Rightio. So this is a quick question. What's the exact Mile Hitachi wand you guys have? So I just get the one on Amazon, also the cheaper one.
What I can do as well, man, I can actually put a link here or something like that. I actually have a really fucking epic one that I gave Gabe as well, and that I use consistently all the time. I like it because it's not too big, but it's not too small, and it's rechargeable, and you can actually recharge it from your laptop, man. So I've actually got that.
We'll send it to me, and we'll link you in the description under show notes. All right, is last minute resistance a sign of bad game, or does it just happen to everyone? So at least this is my opinion, but it happens to everyone. You can minimize it through your game. You can significantly minimize the chance, but everyone's going to get rejected. Everyone on here gets rejected. Everyone on here has dates that don't lead to sex. Everyone on here gets LMR. The difference is that it happens less to us than the average guy, but it still happens to everyone. And the internet craps out. Yo, can you guys see and hear me?
Yeah, we can
just
hear you.
I can't see. It's moving.
How about you boys just jump into it? Because why Alex is fading in and out.
Yeah, I mean, what Alex said.
Yeah, for sure. It's part of the game. I think the better you get, I think newbies think about these things more. They think about rejection more. They think about last-minute resistance more. I think the better the game, the better the pickup, the less last-minute resistance you get. But as Alex said, it's just part of it.
Yeah, I mean, you're never gonna be able to eliminate not meeting up with girls that have a hard rule against no sex on the first date. But that being said, all the ones that if you're moving your escalation out of nowhere, which is what most guys are doing, then she's gonna be what the fuck, and then there's hours of LMR, which guys like to write about in field reports. It just means your game sucks.
Exactly. I mean, I think the mindset shouldn't be how to get over last-minute resistance. The mindset should be, how do I make the pickup strong enough that she wants to sleep with me? How do I make the date strong enough? How do I make the game strong enough?
Yeah, exactly. In sales, it's if you gave a super weak pitch, you're gonna have to do all this convincing.
Objection handling at the end.
The point I'm trying to make is that a good game will definitely significantly minimize the chance of you getting LMR, of you getting rejected, and all of that. But it's still like sometimes guys think that like I got LMR this one time must mean that something is terribly off. But sometimes it would have happened to anyone. Like sometimes the chick, whatever, was super religious, super weird, super prude. Like, so that's kind of what I was getting at.
Yeah, just came out of a relationship and she's super tender and she's like, you know what, it's not tonight, or she could be the opposite. I'm down to fuck, you know, really depending.
Sometimes it's just bad timing. Like I remember one time, I like to tell this story. I was walking to the gym and there's like this hot chick like standing outside of there, and like I started talking her up, and I thought my game was very much on point, but she was just like giving me so much, like she was just so non-compliant, and just like it was just like literally fucking trying to like pull something out of thin air. And then eventually she was just like kind of walked away. I was like, okay, whatever. I didn't even like put two thoughts into it. But then I saw her a week later at Whole Foods, and like I just literally just waved to her as I was going by, and she waved to me, and then I'm like, hey, like we meet again. And then like that time she was like way more receptive, and I got her number. Like, but my game was exactly the same. The only thing that was different was the timing. Like, she was probably just in a horrible mood that day. So, all right, let's jump to the next question. Okay. Hey, Alex and all great coaches, how would you let the girl know you're into a friends with benefit and identify if she is too?
So yeah, I can start off. You're not gonna I don't like make it very explicit. You just like bang her and then like see her usually once a week. And then like it usually doesn't come up. Once you start seeing each other more regularly than once a week on average, that's when both are gonna catch attachment on both sides. And then she's gonna ask about that. But if it does come up, you can say either that you're too busy with work or you're not over your last breakup.
Yeah, I agree with that. I very rarely, like, I don't think ever really have these like conversations where I'm like, all right, so you're officially my friends with benefits now. Like that never happens. It's just kind of like assumed in the vibe. I never like do these like sit down talks where I'm like, all right, so I want to label you as, you know, FWB number 3. You know, if you play your cards right, I might be able to move you up to number 2, but you know.
I think it's also the depth of conversations you're having. Oh, sorry, John.
I was gonna say you just got rid of you said you had 2 and you got rid of 1?
No, I had 3 and then 1. Actually, I didn't get rid of her. It was just a misunderstanding we had. It was regarding a video I made. She was in one of my videos, and then she got upset because of another video I made. So related to PWF, but fuck it.
Oh, I've been there many times.
I think it's also the depth of conversation on this question, man. Like some guys like go, like yeah, I said I love what you said, John, about the timing as well. But then also like I'm just keeping it really most of the time if I'm doing that for a fuck buddy, I'm just keeping the vibe super sexual, just super chilled and super sexual, and I'm not going down. And Gabe actually has like a whole framework on this, which is phenomenal. Of like this is how you can actually break shit down, man. So I don't know if you want to touch on that, bro.
Well, I think it's also, I mean, yeah, what all you guys are saying, and then the way I see it is it's about the character that you're portraying. So if you're portraying yourself to be the relationship character where you're talking about, where you're using a lot of future projections in terms of relationship type content, you're talking about how you're looking for a relationship and all of that, and then all of a sudden you're trying to get into things with benefit, you always have to be thinking about mismatching certain frames. I don't think it needs to be an actual conversation, but you just need to be aware of the character that you're portraying yourself to the girl.
Just to add on what you said, because a mistake I see a lot is guys, they want a friends with benefits type of thing. And they like fucking, after they bang the girl, they take her out to these fancy dinners and they do all these date type of activities. And then they're like, why does this bitch want to fucking be in a relationship? All I want is a friends with benefits. But they're basically like acting like her boyfriend in a sense. That's not to say you can't. I was just going to comment on that. That's not to say you can't go out to dinner with a girl, but I'm talking about the general vibe is they're acting like her boyfriend, and then they're surprised that the girl sees them as that, right? Versus,
they could still go out for dinner, man. They could still go out for dinner, but like the conversations is like purely a lot more sexual. Yeah. It's like sexual, a bit more playful, and like not so much like, hey, as Gabe said, we're future projecting shit. We're talking about family. We're talking about friends. We're talking about the fucking name of your cat and why you love your cat. We're like just keep it just like really across that board.
Yeah. You can act like her friend, you like her funk buddy, you can act like her boyfriend, you can act like, you know, her gay best friend. There's different ways you can act. And generally you're gonna get whichever way you act. All right, let's jump to the next one. Hey guys, my left-right swipe ratio is like 20 plus left swipes. to 1 right swipe. Tinder keeps showing me big girls. Should I get that 5-to-1 ratio and just unmatch the big girls? Is that right swipe for me? So I will quickly answer this. It 100% does not matter. Just swipe right on girls you find attractive, swipe left on everyone else. It's really as simple as that. Guys OCD about their right to left swipe ratio. In reality, those guys are not getting matches because of their ratio. They're not getting matches because their profile sucks. Like, I've seen that pattern time and time again. So just swipe on girls you find attractive, swipe left on everybody else. It's really as simple as that.
Or move to a country where everyone's not fat.
It's true. It's another option. When a girl says, I felt no chemistry, spark, or connection after a date, what does that mean? How can someone fix this? From online dating apps, by the way. You guys want to tackle this one?
That's usually related back to sexualization and like guys just having like very boring conversations. Like the guys that okay. The second lady is here. She doesn't speak English though. She can't come on the channel, but you can talk to her. Okay. Are you letting her in? Are you letting her in? Okay. It's usually the guy's like too serious and like ends up like just having like a very like straight information exchange, right? Where like it's just like that. I don't know. There's like no sexualization. The girl is just basically there, existing and like super bored. It's a lot of guys that are just taking the date way too seriously. The best frame for a date is to assume you already banged the girl. Like just treat it like if you already banged the girl, you're not gonna be like, oh, what should I do? What should I say? Like, is she gonna like me? Like all this other stupid mindsets. And that's the same mindset in cold approach. The purpose of the interaction, like when you cold approach, isn't to win the girl over or to gain points or to not fuck up or any of these other things. It's to determine her logistical situation and her objections, and then either try to bang her there or bang her later. And that's it. So like the guys are in there like, oh my God, I hope this works. And all the like, I hope this works mindset leads to it not working.
Oh, yeah, I agree with that. Gabriel, do you guys have anything to add to that?
Yeah, if a girl says she doesn't feel a spark, I mean, basically just telling you the attraction isn't there. So now let's go back to attraction techniques and how and sexual intent and sexual. I mean, yeah, like get the sexual intent down, get the attraction techniques down, get her emotional. Like, yeah, if you're just having a conversation that's boring and you like just judge by the girl's emotional spikes. If she's never being emotional in the conversation, probably a conversation that's not result optimized. You're not going to get results if you just have a conversation that never spikes her emotions.
Yeah. It's very rare that you're going to have a girl say, I felt no chemistry or spark if the conversation was full of sexual tension. That almost never happens. It's usually going to happen when the conversation gets super boring.
That's why I tell guys to come out like guns blazing, like do it over the top rather than not do it at all. And it has to like gel with your personality. Like I'm constantly just thinking that shit's funny anyways. So I just say it no matter what. But,
yeah, and I actually learned this from Pierre Dessos. He actually articulated it really fucking well, man. It's like he basically called it the concept of like lead with controversy. It's like basically, man, I'm like telling chicks like I was like selling drugs. Like basically, I don't really say what I do like explicitly sometimes, depending on the girl discerning the situation. And I'm just really upfront about that. But yeah, you're right. The conversation is going to be no chemistry if you're not injecting sexual attention, which all you boys have just said. And then like basically making like speaking your truth and then like saying the fucked up shit about your life and like building it up in a way. So for example, like if like, some guys like, how do I bring up a conversation about sexuality? It's like kind of a bit more like I'll say from a different side. If it's a chick maybe from like Burning Man or something like that, you're like I had this client, I'm like, yo, start talking about Burning Man, and then you can start going down that route of like what was the workshop you did in the sexual exploration. So then he goes, oh, that's a really good segue into not just going, yo, do you like to just fuck? It's like really uncalibrated, and then it's just building that up from there.
You like that dick?
Yeah, you're like, do you want some of this right now, girl? It's like, who the fuck are you? But it's like that escalation ladder essentially.
I got 4 inches of good time.
Yeah, man.
A general thought before we move on is I notice a lot of guys make the mistake on dates of just like really talking about themselves nonstop. And I honestly, when I'm on a date, I do very little talk. I talk a lot, but I don't talk about myself often. Like after the date, the girl still logically knows very few things about me. Honestly, like I mainly talk about, I rip off either I talk about her, but even better is the we frame. So I talk about shit that involves us, like, I'll just, talk about what's going on around us, us, future projections. So I use the we frame, very often. I don't really sit there and just ramble facts about myself. Every girl's going to be bored by that because no one really gives a shit about you. People care about themselves.
That's right.
Yeah. All right. Why don't I get any replies even though I get a lot of matches? So it's going to be probably poor text game. Could also be that your profile isn't that good. So one thing you'll notice that once your profile gets better, more chicks are going to be replying to you. So not only are you going to get more matches, but chicks are going to be also more responsive. You guys have anything to add on that? All right. Alex, if you switch bodies with Rhaegar, who out of the three here would you want to take care of you for a week? If I switch bodies with Rhaegar, I don't even know how to answer that. I don't fucking know. I guess I'd have to have sex with dogs then for a week, which would be kind of awkward. I'm more about the human pussy, not so much about that dog pussy, but I don't know. Maybe I would change. All right, so let's get some good questions. Okay. Is it possible to bounce working 60 to 8 hours a week in a corporate role with strong success in game? Most pickup guys I met who are having a lot of success seem to have not much else going on. So that's a good question. What are you guys' thoughts on this?
Yeah, so the thing is, it also depends how good you want to get. It depends what guys' goals are in game. If you want to really get to, really get to an advanced level in your game, obviously you have to commit the hours. Can you still get results by having a corporate job? Of course you can. Can you, but how good you want to get? What are your goals? There's no reason why. There's so many of my students have had corporate jobs, but they still get good at game. It's about looking at your life. What do you have to cut? Can you cut your time on Facebook and Netflix and replace it with going out to game? Do you have to cut out seeing ad influencers? What do you have to do? Because you can't cut your job, but you need those 8 hours of work, but you can still game. If you're looking at your life objectively and you're thinking to yourself, okay, let me cut out Netflix, let me cut out my 1 hour that I'm spending scrolling through Instagram, and let me use that to work on game. Because otherwise, everyone has the time. It's not about do you have the time or don't you. It's just 100%. Where are you putting that time in?
100%. What are your thoughts on this, Andrew?
I agree, man. I'll just check in with a little bit here. It's like you can definitely get this stuff sorted, but you know what, man? If you're doing 60 to 80 hours a week, it's like, what? Why are you getting into this? What is your commitment to doing this, and what is your end outcome? Because let's just say the dudes who I deal with, man, and mainly if you want a girlfriend, bro, you don't have to be a master PUA. And that's the thing. I think sometimes guys get in this headspace. I have to be this dude and have fucking X amount of girls. Bro, if you want a girlfriend, you're not going to have to put in 10, 20, 30,000 hours like some of you boys have had in the culmination of all the approach we've done. Seriously, it's get that girl, have a chat. You meet a few girls, where is the place it's coming from? That's a big fucking difference, your end outcome. I'll just keep it simple like that. What's your end outcome? What is it? And then when you actually meet some girls, you're is this actually my ideal girl, or are you bullshitting your girl because you're just settling for scarcity?
Yeah, because the guy wrote in the question success in game, but success in game is all subjective according to what he's looking for. It could be
subjective as fuck.
To get a girlfriend, it could be to get really, really good at cold approach. Well, then you have to put the hours in. You can't skip the process. It could be to just get to a level where you have that balance of work and have the right girl. Then you still need to go out a little bit, of course, to get some abundance, to get the skill sets. But it's all about what goals you have. And don't think that any goal is better than another. Yes. Someone that just wants an monogamous relationship, it's not better or worse than someone that wants to spend their life like us doing pickup. It's not better or worse, but have a goal in mind.
Yeah. I'll just last touch point, man. Say success. It's sometimes bro, you don't want to be going out there hitting the clubs and you want the result of what is for you. It's what is the result? Fuck, I was setting up sex parties purely through cold approach, but I'm that was a fucking lot of hustle and a lot of fucking years of like fucking up. And then like John having a rotation of 15 chicks. I'm sure like John's story didn't start off like doing that and like Gabe smashing and all you boys hitting. It's like we had to go through a lot of pain and stuff. Like if you're a dude who just wants a girlfriend and you're like, yo, I work a corporate job, just want to have one girl in my life, broke. That's going to be a lot easier than going like having a rotation of fucking 15 chicks. I know you guys like set this systems and to have that stuff, but at the same time, they're going to still have to do a lot of manpower and go out on the field and do a lot of stuff as well to make that shit happen. It's like a lot of rotations, dealing with multiple women, etc., like that. And like this, a lot of guys aren't there psychologically. They can't even deal with one chick. Like how many guys that go, oh, how can I do a rotation? They can't even fucking approach.
Yeah, it's pretty common. John, what are your thoughts on this?
My mic on mute. I think you can do both. It's like simply a matter of time. Like how much time is there in a week? How much time are you sleeping? Here's what you have towards work and other obligations. In this time that you have left, if your game is solid, you can still run a big rotation. You can still go on lots of dates and close a lot. It's not. It's most of the problem is the guy's game sucks. So like if they have to do a whole bunch of like roaming around the malls for 6 hours. With like 2 numbers, or like everyone's game has bottlenecks, and people on the forums don't talk about any of the key areas that matter. Everyone's talking about mostly random shit that's totally irrelevant to their core results. And then when people do, go and like devote time to this, it's like you're trying to go this way and you're just like running around in a field like off in the other direction. That's pretty, but it's not their fault. It's because most of the companies are fucking full of shit. And they're just following like bad advice.
Yeah, for sure. I think again, if guys have limited amounts of time to game in the field, whether they have limited amounts or not, it's about optimizing your time in the field. It's about optimizing your time gaming. Are you briefing? Are you debriefing? Are you analyzing your interactions? Are you thinking about what you need to do better? Are you noticing what your sticking points are? Are you learning the correct theory to handle those sticking points? Because otherwise there's an opportunity cost. Instead of spending the time at a club speaking to girls, you could be at home reading a book, you could be with friends and family. So there's an opportunity cost. So make sure you're maximizing your time when you're out there. I used to get so annoyed and frustrated. I would go out and just see guys self-amusing. That's all they would focus on, just self-amusing, doing crazy shit in the clubs. And I was thinking, where's this community gone to? Why aren't they focusing on how do I improve my game? Am I briefing? What is my debrief? What do I need to analyze? What are my sticking points? And then you can actually get better faster, especially for guys that are in corporate jobs. You don't have to put in hundreds and hundreds of hours in cold approach because you're optimizing your time.
Yeah,
but the guys are lucky now as well, bro. The guys are lucky now who are joining the game now. Like think about like our mentors who we had to like start off. Especially, how old are you, John? By the way. You 32, 3?
I'm going to be 37 in 3 weeks.
Oh, bro, you had nothing. Like it was dismal when I started, and then when you started, like you had a few people saying shit, but the amount of like say competition in the marketplace of like how many people are out there doing this stuff, man, and like I know there's not a lot of people legit, but then all of a sudden like it's like the legit people start rising to the surface, and it starts making sense. It's like the people who are starting now, they get one product from either like you boys, like Gabe or you. They fucking watch your shit back to front, know the theory, and then all they have to do is apply the right shit that you guys have applied for 10 years. I'm not putting myself in that category because you guys are the masters of that shit. And I see that. That's why I'm like, it's like, fuck, it's like, here's the right sequence, apply it. Yeah, you're going to have to go a bit of like through the emotional turmoil of getting the chicks and doing the shit. But at the same time, at least you know you're going in the right step-by-step process. That's the big fucking epiphany, man, that Gabe and I have talked about a ton.
Yeah, for sure. I would say in almost every industry, there's correct theory and there's incorrect theory. And I guess it's just about understanding and spotting the guys that are teaching the correct principles, the correct theory. There'll always be wrong. There'll always be people that teach the wrong theories. And that's unfortunate for guys that are learning that you have to have the ability to find the guys that are teaching the correct things.
I love it. You're like I'm on my channel like this motherfucker that. And you're like, unfortunately, there's some men teaching the wrong theories. Sounds so much nicer that way.
Yeah. So my take is this. I would equate this to like, someone says, okay, how long, like, is it possible to achieve success in the gym if I'm working 68 hours a week? Well, people have completely different definitions of success in the gym. For some person, that might be to become a bodybuilder and to be super fucking ripped. For another guy, it's just to lose 20 pounds and have his abs showing. Completely different answers. People also have completely different starting points. Some people are genetically way ahead. With pickup, I would equate this to some guys just have way better social skills than others just starting off. So yeah, it's a very hard question. But personally, when I was really, I would say when like a lot of the playing with fire concepts, I started developing them. And when I would say went from like intermediate to quote unquote advanced was actually when I was working in sales. I wasn't working 80 hours, but I was probably working 50 hours a week realistically. And to me, that felt like I was working all the time. And literally, I just started applying a lot of sales concepts to online game. And also, like, I was also so strapped on time. Like, I could not afford any kind of inefficiency. I had to screen the girls because I didn't have time to go on a second date that night, right? Only had a few hours. I had to, get the girl to come straight over to my place because I literally did not have the time or energy for a public date. So there's all these principles I started doing. But I would say, like, I was literally, like, I hit a peak literally when I was working like 50 hours a week. I mean, it definitely helped. I was in almost a constant flow state just from doing sales. But yeah, so I would say it's definitely possible. It just depends on what your definition of success is.
Yeah, the way I see it is it's the same with everything. It's analyzing your time. Like whether it's the gym, a corporate job, analyzing your time and putting in some quality time into game. When I say quality time, don't just go out to the clubs and self-amuse. Make sure that you have a brief, you have a debrief, you're analyzing your interactions, you're getting the right theory in. Look, ultimately, some guys don't want to hear this, but it could take giving up certain things. Do you have to give up going to the gym if you want to put even more time? Like you can get more time if you put more time in. So I don't think it's needed to give up certain things, but you really have to just maximize your time. And not even that, like just pay attention to what you're doing when you're out. If you're in the clubs and I see you just having fun, speaking to your friends for an hour and just doing push-ups and just self-amusing, not actually really serious about being good. Because the way I see this is, I see game as similar to chess. That's the way I see it. And if you're not doing certain things, you're not going to get certain results. And if you just try play chess and you just say, let me just have a lot of fun, let me just do push-ups while I'm playing chess, it's not going to help with much. It might help. It doesn't help with anything. But the thing is, so it's like, are you actually doing what's needed to get results? And for me, what is needed? Briefing, debriefing, correct theory. You need to have the correct people that you're learning from, and then actually having some action-taking ability where you actually go and implement it. And I think for everyone, don't get sucked into all the guys that are just going out and self-amusing and doing crazy shit, because that's not what's needed to actually get good with game. I mean, it's as simple as that.
Are you talking about RSD?
JMULV likes to call people out. I do it in a more
subtle way, yeah. To me, what's the saddest, I think, is the guys who go out almost every single night. They've been grinding it out like night after night, day after day, and a year or two later, they have almost zero results. They made like zero progress. Their game sucked 2 years ago, and it still sucks now. Like, and to me, they're frustrated because they're putting in the time. They're sacrificing their health. They're sacrificing time with their friends, shit they would actually enjoy doing, to like go to the clubs, and they're making like zero progress. So to me, that's like the saddest. Like, I personally had friends like that. I was like, dude, what the fuck are you doing? Like, this is not working. And they just
talk to guys every day like that
against the wall.
For 8 years, I talked to guys every day about that stuff. And then like literally it just changes in like a matter of like a couple days. It's like once you find the right strategy, like you can become good that next day, and you can start getting laid like that next day. And guys think that, like, a lot of guys watching this, they've probably like logged years and stuff, and I think that's gotten them closer, but they're like probably gone backwards because it's a lot of like weird RSD stuff typically. But at the very least, they're like not really off the ground. It's like, well,
you have to actually look at results, like looking at like, how much I self-amused that night. That's not a good metric. But you have to actually look at results. Okay, Is my sex life better now? Am I hooking up with a higher quality and quantity of girls, or am I just more content in my whatever?
I think most guys. most guys track their progress through the emotional state that they're in after a night out.
Yes.
So if they're feeling good, they think that they had a good night, and they just don't want to face the truth of, is their game improving? What is their sticking points? What results are they getting? And the way I see it, because basically what we're talking about is skill set development and how to get skill set. When it comes to anything, learning how to play the piano, learning anything, there's a certain way to go about it. You have to put in the work, you have to learn correctly, you have to practice, you have to learn from the right people. There's a certain way to get good at game, and it seems like 60% of the community doesn't want to follow the same approach that they would if they were learning any other skill.
Do you know what it is? I think people are coming in like, I've been in the community for X amount of years. It's kind of like a badge of honor. It's like, bro, it doesn't matter how many years you've been in the fucking community. It's like, what's going on? Like, what do you want to do? What do you want to achieve for this? And I think that it's advanced so much. And like, basically, like, JMULV, you're kind of bringing in like, essentially like digital marketing to like the pickup space, which is like, you're like setting leads, setting that up, and you've been doing that for a long time. I think that's been really revolutionizing how people have been seeing that. And same with the way that
bringing stuff in from marketing.
No, I'm saying like, do you know how you like lead generation, like do like that, capturing leads, doing this, building that up, doing volume. That's a really smart way of looking at it from like a marketing perspective. Like, how many leads can we get in the most effective way? What's the most effective sequence through the texting strategies as well, which PWF teaches and all that stuff. So it's like, it's a very like logical way of doing that. And it's like, here's the results-based metric of like breaking it down with spreadsheets and nuances. And that's how marketers have been doing it for years when they've been doing campaigns and shit like that, just for the business guys listening. So that's why I'm saying it's like the evolution, the advancement, opposed to like, yeah, just go out there and self-amuse. It's like, yeah, let's really break this shit down, look at the results and look at the metrics, opposed to just going how much fun and the time, and instead of just going, look at the time that I was in this fucking sphere. That's what I mean.
You know what's funny? You would never say someone's a good marketer if, like, when you ask them, so what is your success rate? Like, I don't know, I don't really track this stuff, you know, but I have a lot of fun when I send out cold emails.
Yeah, that's what I always say about any other skill game. Like, if you were like, hey, who's the best poker player here? And you like didn't care. It wasn't important, like what their career earnings were or yearly earnings, or like anything that matters in any skill game is a matter of winning and getting the result. But this industry has perverted the result into being like stupid. Like, I've been made fun of for years for being like, look, I can get you to bang 100 girls a year. No one wants to bang lots of girls. Like, we just like literally, it's like what they did in the Bible. It's like in the Bible, they're like, we want proof. And then there's like this story with the doubting Thomas. And they're like, look, Jesus comes to the guy that's like doubting him the most. And he's like, look, I can give anyone proof at any time. And so then he's like, but now you're punished for wanting proof. And the point of the story is like, everyone starts to look at it upside down, where they're like, we don't want proof about this claim. Like, it's better to just believe it and not have the proof. And now everyone's like, it's better to not have the results. Like I've heard companies, I remember like Social Prime, they're like, dude, we're not about getting guys laid. Like, it's become like this taboo thing. Like a lot of companies like, no, like getting laid, like that's not what we're about. So I just think it's like full blown out of control that everyone's been brainwashed to not care about the result, when that's why we're all here in the first place.
Well, fortunately, if guys are watching this video, then they're probably on the right track at least. So we got the cream of the crop. All right, let's jump into this question. I went home with a cute girl, and after 15 minutes, she came from oral. Then she said she was really tired, so I left. Next message. So my very quick answer on this is, my personal policy is, if it's a new girl, like not a booty call, I never, ever will let her come from oral. I just get her horny enough, and I start fucking her. I've seen this happen. I haven't had it to happen to myself. I've heard the story, variations of this time and time again. Guys like, yeah, I'm gonna make this girl come for my lips. Then she comes, and then she gets a little bit of regret. She's like, I don't know this guy. I already busted a nut. Like, yeah, you know, it's getting kind of late. Like, don't fucking do that. Just like, get her horny enough and then fuck her. You guys have anything to add on that?
No, all good.
Yeah, I feel like that's a very simple answer. Like with a booty call, yeah, absolutely, because I know we're gonna 100% have sex either way. But with like new girls, like I'm not gonna let them come from oral before we hook up. Like it's just gonna be, again, I'm just lowering my odds of getting a good outcome. The reverse of this is sometimes like if you whip your dick out when you're with a chick and she sees that you're gonna come either way with or without her, then she's gonna be like, all right, well, I might as well come because this guy's gonna come. So. All right, so
Also on that, man, she might not have been interested in the dude that much as well. If you go back to that a little bit, it was just simple. Like, and what he said, he left or she left.
I think he was at her place and then he left.
Okay, maybe she wasn't really into it. She's like, yeah, give me an orgasm and I'm out. So it's just like, yeah. Anyway, you nailed it, man. Cool.
Yeah, I mean, she got what she wanted, you know.
Yeah.
Do you guys ever crave real intimacy? Does crying in front of a girl mean crying in front of a girl mean her attraction begins to fade away, either consciously or subconsciously? Well, I'll let you guys take this one away.
I think it's fine to show your emotions with a girl as long as you're not being like a huge pussy. So like that's like the very fine distinction there. It's not like you're crying because you're a little fucking loser or like a pansy about something. Like if say like your mother died or something like that. Like here's the thing is like guys like make these hard principles where it's like I can never take a girl out to dinner because I'm gonna be a provider, or I can never like, you know, anything that's like doing something for a girl or praising a girl is like off limits because they're gonna be a provider or a beta. And the guys that are gonna like call you a beta for doing that have slept with like one girl or two. Everyone just like repeats these mantras, and I'm like, I double text all the time, guys. I take girls out to dinner all the time, guys. Like I fucking hold doors for girls or like, you know, other stupid shit that, you know, where guys are like, oh, that means you're a provider. It's like, who's banging all the girls here? Is it you? Do you want to tell me why I shouldn't do that? It's like you're like just repeating something that this little fucking fat redhead guy said, and you're gonna tell me like this doesn't work. I could show you like a million examples of where double and triple texting cause no problems at all. I take a girl out to dinner on the second date every single time almost, because I like to have like a more like serious talk and like more romantic side rather than just a fun drink your coffee on the first date. And guys are like just now, like I was like, I just used 2 Uber apps to call the 2 girls over for the threesome. And I kid you not, the little fags have been blowing up the forum the whole night being like, this guy winked here and that means he's less alpha than the other speakers. Like, he called the girls Ubers. Like they're literally gonna like diss on a guy who has there's like 2 hot Brazilians in the next room, like awaiting my return. And they're gonna be like, look, he called them an Uber, he's a fag. It's like, okay, like it's like why all the advanced guys left the forums. Like you come into a pickup group and everyone's like single or double digit late count, like 100 guys or whatever. Not that there's anything wrong with that. But I'll be like, hey, this is wrong, this is wrong. People are like, who cares? No one cares you banged a lot of girls, or no one cares you're seeing a lot of girls. I'm like, well, that's very relevant. And all the advanced guys that I know that were like dealing with these people eventually just got sick of it because people aren't very gracious. Like when Alex came onto the scene, I think I was at like 700 or 800 count or something like that. And I just like hit you up in PM and I was like, kind of like bothering you a lot because I was
I was real hesitant about becoming friends with you because your late count wasn't in 1,000 yet. So I kind of held back a little bit. But,
I was like, I think this guy's doing something better than me with online game and texting, and that hadn't happened in a long time. Where like someone was like really doing an area better. Not that that sounds fucking arrogant, but the whole system was like evolved. It was working very solid in 2012. The system that I have, and it's just been constantly an evolutionary process to optimize it further. So like when Alex came along. It's not like me needing help from like to improve from Alex or him needing help from me for night game means that we're fucking losers, right? But guys would rather just like flame the guys that have the info, as is evident in the chat the entire night here. I know you're not reading it, but
dude, that will always happen as our channels keep growing. There's gonna be more and more of that. Like fuck it, honestly, don't give a shit if some trolls. I've been called a beta for getting girls Ubers too. Like I remember when I posted this report. When I was in Colombia, it was a really hot chick who came straight over, and like the first comment was, "You called her an Uber? That's a beta move. You're like her provider and her sugar daddy." I was like, "What? It's a third world country. An Uber there costs like $3 fucking. Like, are you kidding me right now? Like, this is the worst logic ever." But who gives a shit? What I wanna add on that is you have to be willing to question your assumptions, right? Like recently, I put out a video where we tested 10 openers, right? And some of them were openers that I've been using for years. And guess what? One of my favorite openers scored way worse than a lot of other openers. Am I fucking sad about it? I'm like, oh, my favorite opener is, ranking lower. No, I just shared that data. Like, okay, now I'm not using that opener anymore. Like questioning my assumptions. I remember for a while, it was like a long thought assumptions that having a shirtless picture on Tinder is not effective. It's douchey, blah, 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 right? That was just like, I think before PWF, that was just like the I kind of went without saying that was an assumption. I was like, you know what? Let's see if that's actually true. Try to shirtless picture worked really well. I'm like, okay. So if you're Jack and you post a shirtless picture, it can actually be an effective strategy. So you have to be willing to just question, the conventional wisdom. I think that there's nothing wrong with that. But I think a lot of guys just get really they tie their identity to these pickup ideas. And if the pickup idea is wrong, then there's something wrong with them. No, it's just the idea, can be updated. Yeah. I'm sure 3-4 years, I'm going to be doing a lot of things different than I'm doing now, even better. I hope so. I hope I don't do the same exact shit. I think, John, you said this, one of the problems with Mystery is that he never evolved. So he figured out something good, but he just kept doing it. He never evolved.
Yeah. Him and I used to talk a lot back in 2016. He told me he was in the low 300 count, but he's nearing 50 or whatever. But he told me at that time something that was way off. He's like, dude, I don't even get phone numbers anymore. Because I was like, what I realized is it's all about leads and working the leads down for closes. He's like, I don't even get phone numbers anymore. He's like, if a girl doesn't have enough compliance to give her Skype, then it's not even worth getting her contact info. And I was like, dude, most girls don't even know what the fuck Skype is.
Most girls under 30 don't even have Skype.
Yeah, let alone have Skype mobile. But the thing is, he's still the guy I respect the most because I think he really, really, really nailed some things, the compliance model, the core of the system and stuff like that. But then there's other things where he was way off or was pretty inefficient. But it was a very good attempt. But then what should have happened across the whole community, if you got, you can never get rid of the scammers that just mass trick everyone. But what should have happened is that everyone just worked off this growing body of knowledge, and everyone was progressing across the board. Right? Everyone's trying to push the envelope of what's better and better based on what leads to the best results. Whereas, he just froze it in 2005, 2006, whatever, and he's still teaching that same system today. And it's parts of it are broken, and guys are like, oh, I know, I hit my first 100 with Mystery Method. And people are like, does that mean we should go study Mystery Method? I'm like, no. But I kept all the great parts of it and it evolved them further. And I still to this day want to sit down with him and go through with Mystery and go through here's the key things that I think were wrong. Here's the key. I could write a whole paper about it. And he literally said, he's like, oh, well, when you Google pickup artists, is it me or you? And Google, if you ask Siri or whatever was what he said. And it's that's because you had a fucking stupid VH1 show.
Who gives a shit? I don't think I would want to be the first person when you Google pickup artist. It's not really a term I even want to be associated with that much.
Hey, Alex.
Is that why you don't do cold? Is online technically being a pickup artist, or is it just cold approach?
Is what? What's the question?
If you just do online, is that still under the umbrella of a pickup artist? I guess.
Dude, I don't know, but what I don't like is a lot of girls have negative because due to guys, whatever, doing negs and shit like that, a lot of girls have negative association with the word pickup artist. So I never when a girl asks me what I do, I never say I'm a professional pickup artist. I say sex and dating coach. But when girls oh, is that a pickup artist? I'm like, no, it's not a pickup artist.
Just say it's movie.
Do you mind if I get to the question? Because I think I could drop some bombs.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. Let's jump into it. Go ahead, Andrew.
So do you guys ever crave real intimacy? I might just give a little bit of a different angle. It's cool, the route that you're going down. But for this, man, it's this is what we do at Sexual Quantum Leap. It's so men can have, because the thing is, I'm not a pickup company. So it's so men can have mind-blowing sexual experiences with women they care about by opening their hearts and connecting deeply with themselves. As a result, being the best you ever had inside and outside the bedroom. Now that, for you technical guys, might come across I'm not saying anything about techniques. No, I'm not. But I'll just jump straight into the real intimacy. 100%, man. And intimacy, I think guys get really confused with intimacy is sex, where intimacy isn't sex. Intimacy could purely be a deep conversation with a chick. Intimacy could be, as I said, John, John was saying, taking a woman out on a fucking date, which is beautiful, and having a really beautiful conversation with a chick who you care about. And I just want to address the point about crying in front of a woman. It's the place it's coming from. And I think that's a really discernment of this thing as well. Some of the best sex I've had is when I've been really emotionally expressive and telling the woman how much I love and how much I care about her. But then also on the flip side of that, sometimes the best sex I've had is when I've been crying with a woman in the bedroom just because she can feel how much we're both really enjoying this moment. Not to mention, I know you guys can throw a caveat what about the threesomes and the fucking sex party? It's I was doing that shit and that was fun and it was fucking epic. I stopped doing that shit because I'm at the moment in my life, I'm not saying I'll never go back to it, but at the moment I'm you know what, I really want to like enjoy just a deep connection with one person, but I'm not saying that is what you should be doing. But then I've been with this woman, I've cried deeply in front of her. And if guys who are watching this, they want to create a deep emotional bond, I've really showed that aspect of who I am, but it's not coming from a place. And I'm not saying this for guys who are just starting out. I'm not saying just do this if you're beginning to start crying from a girl. Like, no, bro, have a backbone, know how to assert yourself and have boundaries. And then when you've got this chick and she can feel that you're like a really genuine, like whole fucking dude in a lot of respects of like who you are as a man, and you start showing these aspects, and she goes, you're basically, I got this analogy, you're a black bear, where it's like, you know what, I'm not afraid to fucking fuck shit up and make things happen, and she can feel that like you're that dude, and you can say what you want, you can assert yourself, just like overarching, but then you're also that gentle guy who can be soft and vulnerable. That's the distinction I want to make.
Yeah, I like what Andrew said. I mean, there's lots of guys think, and this is like the wrong mindset, that you can't like a girl because you're a player, because you're in game, it's beta to really like a girl, it's beta to share your emotions. I mean, there's who, like, it's a terrible mindset to think like always be alpha, never show your emotions, never tell the girl you like her. It's generally guys that don't get any girls, they're thinking that. But there's nothing
not
wrong
expressing
with
your emotions is not even alpha. That's more of a beta thing. And alpha doesn't care that he has no problem expressing his emotions. Sorry, I just wanted to comment on that.
Yeah, alpha's like, this is who I am. This is a part of me. It's like, yo, I'm like fucking.
And a lot of guys are just like, they think for some reason it's whatever word I would use. It's chody, or it's you're a loser if you express your emotions. But the way I see it, it's also part of the game. It's also part of getting the girl to know who you are, getting the girl to, you can open up, she can open up. It's part of the relationship, or whatever you call it.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. All right, let's jump into the next question. I work 50 hours in corporate, so closing is hard. How to get that work game balance dialed in? So honestly, what I found is that like 99% of guys, they're doing some bullshit things that they can easily cut out to have more free time. Like they're playing video games, they're wasting a lot of time on social media, they're arguing in group chats, they're maybe trolling my videos instead of like fucking actually paying attention. They're just like spending their time on like bullshit activities and they're in denial about. They're like, no, like I'm so busy, but in reality, like they're not that busy. Like no one is that busy. Like you can always find time for things that you value. So I think it's cutting out being honest with yourself. Like I will be honest, I spend my time on a lot of bullshit activities that I don't need to do, but I'm honest about that, and I have time for all the things I want to do. So like, but if I was trying to, like, for example, add some new activity to my life, like say I didn't know pickup and I was trying to learn it, like I'd be like, okay, yeah, I do not need to spend 45 minutes like fucking putting on a tank top and a backwards hat on my dog and taking pictures of them for Instagram, right? Let's not, like, I don't need to do that shit, or I don't need to like fucking bullshit with my friends for like an hour and a half about nothing. Like, so again, it's just being real, doing an honest self assessment of your time, and then also kind of goes back to what Gabriel, you were saying earlier, just being very efficient with your time. Like going out shouldn't just be like you're out there for the whole night and you're like, you should actually be efficient with your time. Like like if you're like, when I was working a corporate job, I was probably even stricter with my time than I am now. Like I would, if I did go out, like I knew that was my one night a week, so I'm gonna make it count. I'm not just gonna dick around all night. I'm gonna approach as many girls as possible. I'm gonna really try to pull, because I only have limited time. So I think those are the things for me.
It's also, man, it goes back to what we said before. It's the guy's North Star. It's their end goal. It's the end in mind. Why are they doing this? Gabe gave up his whole fucking life to be like the world's best in regards to one of the world's best in regards to picking up chicks, man. But then he sacrificed so much. Like so many times he didn't have money. There's so many times he was like struggling and stuff like that. But it's like, this guy's like, if you're doing your corporate job and you're loving it, get the right sequence and then just roll forward.
Yes. I'm gonna comment this, because I'm seeing so many questions where people like feel like we're all like doing a Game of Thrones type of thing where we're trying to one up each other, or like all right, everyone on this video likes and respects each other. We're not trying to game each other. We're not trying to roast each other. Like, this is a discussion, a mastermind. We're trying to share value with you guys. So to everyone who keeps saying, oh yeah, he owns him, no one's owning anyone. All right, we're just all fucking, we're all friends.
And then the comments, man.
Dude, there's like,
I can't see that. I can't see the comments.
Why would he roast Andrew? Andrew Slay counts better than like, dude, we don't give a shit about this. Like, there's just so many like, look at this one. John Anthony's letting them dominate. What, like, what the fuck are you guys on? This is not like some fucking weird Survivor competition. Like, we're literally just trying to share values and shoot the shit. So some guys' minds are just like fucking, I don't know, complete the wrong place. All right, I've just been skipping all those comments because they're so retarded. I feel the best escalation order while kissing is this. Nimble, right ear, touch butt, then touch chest. Is it? Oh, Afi Kingdom popped on. Let's add him on. Afi, what's up, man?
Yo, what's going on, brother? How you doing?
What's up, buddy? Thanks for coming on, man. So let's. Do you want to quickly introduce yourself?
How you doing, everyone? I'm Alpha Kingdom. I'm a personal development dating coach, author, podcaster, content creator. That's it.
All right. I feel like Afi is sometimes inappropriately classified as red pill, but if you watch the interview with him that we did, I do not consider him a traditional red pill kind of guy. He's more like, I don't know, it's like personal development, whatever.
I'm just a player, man, but you know, it's like whenever men talk about women, we get set in different lanes. Either you're a date coach, pickup, or they just, you know what I mean? So that's just how it is.
All right, so let's jump. We're going to go straight to the question, Afi. So I feel the best escalation order while kissing is this. Nimble, right ear, touch butt, then touch chest. Is this optimal methodology? All right, Gabriel, you want to start off with this?
Yeah, okay. So, I don't think you have to be as specific as this. Like, there's only one right sequence. You first have to kiss her left ear, then go 30 degrees to right ear, then touch her. But don't see it like that. But you need to see it like, firstly, obviously, there's a natural progression of intent. So just like verbal intent, you can go deeper from calling her cute, calling her sexy, commenting on her body. There is a natural progression. I wouldn't say starting off at nimble her idea. Start off by plausible deniability. So hugging her, high-fiving her. Start with subtle touch, see how she responds. Once you know that she's comfortable with your physical touch, now we can start to look at sexual touch. So now you can start to look at maybe holding her for a bit longer, touching her in certain sexual areas, going in for the kiss, see how she responds. Does she respond well? Then maybe you can kiss her. Okay, then you can start getting even closer to her, increasing the proximity. Always make sure at physical escalation or sexual escalation that the girl is always comfortable when you're doing this.
Absolutely. What do you think, Mr. SQL?
I think that's spot on, bro. I think it's what we said before, man, about that biting as well. That was it, man. Like the thing is, Gabe said it right. It's the escalation, the build-up, man. Being very, very aware of the build-up and very looking at the woman's emotions, how she's actually responding. And I think a lot of guys think this is the question I get, how do you know what a woman wants in the bedroom? It's you know why I fucking know, and my clients know, it's because I'm willing to ask the hard questions that no man's not willing to ask, and I'm willing to say the hard things that no one's willing to say. It's when I say saying the hard things, I say what I fucking like and I say what I don't like, and this is a very broad statement. And the thing is with this, I really truly believe when you get in your fucking natural fucking state, there's a few guys saying be natural, you actually start bringing that forward anyway. It's a little bit contradictory of what Gabe's saying, and I agree, because he sometimes gets some dudes who don't actually go, what do I do? Because I'm starting off with I don't know how to start. But when these guys really step into this place, man, you start acting in these behaviors naturally. But then it's what do I do specifically? And that's where Gabe really steps in and goes, here's that fucking ladder. So it's just a food for thought, but I don't want to take up the whole fucking conversation, man. But yeah, I'm more in agreement with Gabe when guys are really, really starting out. And also advanced guys are giving them, because Gabe gave me a really good roadmap of here's an actual methodology of here, call her cute, move from here, instead of just jumping into I want to fuck you right now, which is sometimes a little bit uncalibrated.
Let me just quickly comment on this before we jump to Afi. So Gabriel, do you remember it was 2 years ago? I think it was before you and I ever really talked, but it was in your group, and the guy was I remember this story, for some reason this one stands out, where he had a date and he had so many ideas in his mind that he didn't do anything, right? So it was whatever, paralysis by analysis or something like that. I forget the term is. And so 100%, there's optimal principles of escalation. We can all agree on that. There's some things that you should do. But I don't have an exact 100% dead set order, right? It's going to vary based on the situation of the girl. Some chicks really like to have their hair pulled. Some chicks really don't like it. Some chicks are in the middle. Some chicks really like it when you kiss their neck. Some girls don't even really like to make out that much. Some chicks just like real dominance. Some chicks like soft and sensual and more of a gentle touch, and they want you to kiss them for a while before things move forward. So really, optimal approach is going to be calibrated based on the girl and based on the situation.
Sure, agree.
Yeah.
Happy, what do you think?
What I want to tell guys, I feel like a problem that men have in a dating scene is that they don't pre-qualify before the date. They kind of meet the chick and then they try to bring the woman over on the date. So, like my man says, ask the right questions because women don't like the same shit. You know what I'm saying? So you can do it in the playful way or you can do it in the serious way. But when you get to the point where you're hanging out with the chick, you kind of should know your approach. Like if she's likes aggressive men, you need to kind of bring up something in the conversation to where she tells you that she likes that. So then you apply it. Like you need to kind of have like a checklist. That way when you go in, you just continuing from whatever conversation you had. Like whenever I hook up with a chick and I talk to her first, we already kind of got a guideline set. I already kind of know where I'm going to go with it and I want to push further. We're past the what do you like shit. You feel me? We're on the real shit. So we might, as far as making out, that's probably going to be confirmed before we even hook up. You know what I'm saying? I don't have to try to do it. I'm just concluding to it. So.
John, what are your thoughts?
Wait, who's the new guy?
This is Afi. This is John Anthony.
What's going on, bro?
What's going on? Let's see. About the escalation order, I don't do any nibbles on here, or I don't know. I like to just get close to them, and then take a hand on the leg and hand on the back, and lean forward, get close to their. What's all that noise?
Someone has a lot of background noise. Can you guys see who it is?
Does it sound like is it like a banging noise?
Banging noise.
Yeah, I'll mute myself.
All right, all good.
Yeah, like if once you're back at the house, like typically, well, first of all, if you're coming back from a nightclub, you should almost always be doing the makeout in the club. If not in the club, then on the way home in the cab. So like that shouldn't be a question in a night game poll. For a date, I get into physicality. Well, like the first 5 minutes of the date, 5 to 10 minutes is typically not a ton of physicality or being right up in her shit. But then after kind of that initial conversation, then I'll sit closer, then just light pokes, hand on their leg. I do a lot of pokes and hand on their leg and on their back and stuff. And then I like to get really close to my face to go for the kiss.
John, I think you and I have a very similar style of escalation, I've noticed.
Yeah. You want to tell the story? I came to visit Alex a few years back and we banged 13 girls or something in a weekend.
Dude, I feel like I've told that story so many times that even my mom knows it by now. So we'll save that for the next podcast.
Yeah, but we were seeing, because we would have girls over in groups of two sometimes. We were seeing each other do the escalation.
Yeah, fun times. And then we saw my roommate doing that.
Alex, I want to add to that what you said, man. It's basically what you said, bro. And everyone will agree with this. Every woman's different, every pussy's different, and it's not one size fits all. I just want to make that really clear, for dudes, because everyone's like, what is this perfect thing for this one woman? Dude, let's break away from that bullshit, man.
Yeah, there's definitely general principles that are optimal. For example, generally speaking, I will escalate with my tonality, with my eye contact, my body language before I make out with her, right? There's general principles like that. They're optimal. I'll make out with her before I suck on her tits. I'll suck on her tits before I finger her. So there's general principles like that. But they're more or less the kind of common sense type of stuff. But yeah, that's going to be outside the point of this video. All right, so let's get to the next question. Considering that pickup is mostly psychology and seduction, it makes me a bit pessimistic. What if your girlfriend's seduced by one of those types of guys?
Yeah, here, I'll answer this. No woman is safe. No matter how alpha you are, no woman is safe from cheating, and I think unless she's very God-fearing or has a very strict, a very extreme, unbreakable moral code. Other than that, most guys are totally fucked. Just because you can't control who she's meeting. If there's an alpha guy at the gym or an alpha guy at work or an alpha guy that she meets like at the fucking laundromat. It doesn't matter. She's hardwired and attracted to that behavior. So it doesn't matter what she has back at the house, except for like extreme examples where there's like, where it's almost like cultish stuff going on. But apart from that, they're very attracted to alpha behavior. So like me and Sonny Arvado, when we used to be friends, he was saying that he wants to bring a chick like literally isolated from society, like in a log cabin, and just like keep her away from, even though he's like a super alpha
measure.
Even though he's like a super alpha dude, he's like, I don't let my chicks go on like girl trips. I don't let them go to the clubs with their friends. Like he doesn't let them hang out with dudes. Like there's a lot of like very strict rules, and that's even for his rotation girls, just to like minimize exposure. But there's no real preventing that shit. And once you see what we've seen, like once you have banged several hundred girls, and a lot of them, not a lot of them, but enough were married or had boyfriends, and like a lot of them are like extremely in love too. It doesn't matter. Like you just need someone to come along, and you're totally fucked. Especially like if you guys are fighting and stuff, and she's like looking for greener pastures.
I definitely agree with that, but I think like living in fear of that is just like low value. It just doesn't make sense. Like,
don't live in fear of it. Just don't get married.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I think everyone here will agree with that. But I think like I never sweat this stuff. Like I've been in several relationships. I never was like, I know it's a possibility, but I was never like paranoid that my girl was gonna cheat on me. Like if it's just like I'm not sitting around being paranoid that I'm gonna get cancer one day, or that I'm gonna fucking get Alzheimer's when I turn 80. Like, is it gonna happen? Yeah, probably at some point. But I'm not like sitting there like being paranoid about the negatives. I just think that's like a very silly way to live. What do you think, Gabriel?
Oh, for sure. Just what you guys are saying. I mean, at the end of the day, we all evolutionary creatures that respond to certain emotions. There are certain constructs from society that can condition the girl to act in a certain way. Religion, her views on relationships that might alter in a certain way. So it's the social constructs against her emotions. But yeah, it's as Alex said, I think like we're all going to die anyway, but we're not thinking every day, oh my God, what happens if I die? You're not thinking about it just because maybe John's different, but there's no point of getting stuck in your head about it. Like, what happens if my girl just leaves to go to the grocery store and she meets Alex or John or something like that? Like, fuck, I mean, there's no point of thinking that way. But get your game good enough, make the possibilities that it's lower. If your game's good enough, if you become an alpha male, if she enjoys your company, if she's attracted to you, the chances are way lower. Do things, look at the chances, look at probabilities. So if you're a beta male, there's a higher chance that she's going to leave you for another alpha male. If you're an alpha male, there's a lower chance that she's going to leave you. So firstly, do what's in your control, get your game better, and getting your game better is the answer to so many issues here.
But boys, I just want to make it super clear, just my 2 cents. Like, for what you said about your boy, about like the girl's not even allowed to catch up with like the girlfriends, and like, dude, what is this? Like building a cult? Like, come on, boys, like let's like get some fucking. It's not healthy at all. And the guys who are listening, like, we're meant to be the role models of men, like, of saying this, and like. Even that as a joke, guys might go, that's it, I'm going to tell my girl she's not allowed to catch up with other girls, And then all of a sudden it's like, what the fuck? Are we dating girls or are we dating women? And that's like, I really want to like jump in and say like, yeah, if it's a girl, you just fucking once off. But boys, it's like, let's really look at that from that perspective. I know his thoughts and comments. I'll mute myself because these guys are banging in the background. Hammers and shit.
I agree with that. What do you think, Afi?
I think the most effective position to be in is not really care. If you really truly had that abundance mindset, I have boss level game, and I can get cheated on. I have been cheated on, but there's certain instances where I knew that I wasn't game tight, because having a relationship, whether it's rotation or relationships, takes time, man. And sometimes throughout the duration of the interaction, whatever women you have, you're not as attracted as you once were. So I may have a chick and I know that she likes this, this, and this, or I can pull out this kind of trick to get her to do this. But sometimes throughout the duration, I lose my value and attraction for her because I'm used to her. So you just got to know it's we say that it's not yours, it's your turn. I mean, that's a real concept. I mean, if you are a true player and you got game, you have a low chance of having your girl cheat or step out on you. But you have to understand that it's a lot of work too. You know,
I think a big one is
a lot of work sexually. It's not just you get the girl and now she's earned the position and she's just going to cherish you. You gotta go through a lot of shit, man. You gotta get them emotions up and down to keep her coming in. So it's not the touchdown zone relationship. Guys need to understand that. And then on the flip side, sometimes like me, I have open relationships with chicks. So the fact that I'm telling them what I don't care what they do, sometimes that takes the value off of it and they don't want to do it. They're not getting away with anything I'm giving them permission to do because I do whatever the fuck I want to do. So
yeah, I mean, I think that a big part of it is just having the girl that you're seeing, she should respect you. And I think that unfortunately a lot of chicks who are dating guys, they don't respect their boyfriends because the guys act like a beta pussy, like he's engaging in a lot of pussy-like behavior, he's supplicating, he's being needy, whatever, and the girl loses respect. And I think if a girl doesn't respect you, your chance of getting cheated on are much higher. So, I think just, like your friends should respect you, and your girl you're dating should also respect you. Like, imagine if your friends were always borrowing your money, but they never paid you back, and you're just like, well, he's a nice guy. Like, the fuck, they're going to be more likely to take advantage of you again, right? They're not even really your friends at that point. So I think it's like the same kind of principle. Yeah, I mean, I could kind of keep going on this, but let's jump to the next question. I want to quickly touch on this one. Do an interview with Todd V. So I've actually reached out to him numerous times. So if anyone here knows him, PM him and tell him to come on a Sunday night.
I used to coach programs with him in 2012, but for anyone interested, I have a roast on Todd V on my channel. But I don't know. I think he shouldn't be marrying average or whatever, having kids with average girls and being in 6-year relationships with them. And his game has a lot of technical problems. But I don't know why people want to see that interview.
I think he should come on my channel solely for the fact that I think that video will get a lot of views and it'll be pretty interesting. All right, so question. When I pull under the platonic friend adventure frame, use the JMULV method, it feels – well, first of all, I don't think that's the JMULV method.
This guy's been trolling the whole time.
Okay. Yeah, I know. I've gone through your product. You don't teach pulling under the platonic friend frame. I don't remember that chapter, but it feels good saying, do you want to see it? Are you good or not?
This is a troll comment. This guy's been –
Yeah, I'll just add that I don't think anyone here will ever say you should pull under the platonic friend adventure frame. That's like a very outdated concept that's just extremely ineffective. You can ask Indian PE about that. When he first got into pickup, he used to pull all these girls in Vegas under the platonic friend frame, and they would just lead to these like 3-hour sessions where they would all sit on the couch awkwardly, and sex would almost never happen. So, let's jump to the next question.
Hey, Alex, I got to go do this panel, so I appreciate you having me. I had to show some love always because that's how we show each other love. So salute to all of you.
Pass on my regards to Modern Life Dating.
Yeah.
Tell him.
I got a roast coming out on Modern Life Dating tomorrow, actually.
All right. So
I'll mark that on my calendar. I actually want to see that. Me and him got into a little bit of a thing on Offie's panel last weekend. Well, awesome, Offie. Thank you for coming on, dude. You're always welcome. Okay, so let's jump to the next question. Alex, I love you, but last time you dismissed this. Some girls have an ejaculation kink. Supplements like sunflower lectin, arginine for load, and eating pineapple for taste. Thoughts?
Hold on, real quick. I just let the cat out of the bag. Yeah, so that's coming tomorrow. It's gonna be a short one just because that guy's a nobody. But yeah, he ripped off 2 products of mine, Modern Life Dating,
and one of mine.
Oh, there we go. Maybe I can. It's not published yet. If you want to give me some info, I'll include that.
Well, we'll talk off camera. But anyway, let's jump into this question. So, Alex, I love you, but you dismissed this. So about supplements again, like I don't mean to shit on the question, but just like to me, like I don't care that much about like the volume of my sperm that I'm gonna follow a special diet for. Like I follow a special diet for overall health and fitness, but not for my like load size. I don't know. What do you think about this, Gabriel or Andrew?
Maca works to get the load size up.
Yeah, I take maca too. I take maca every morning. Andrew, do you do anything special for your load volume?
You're on mute.
If the noise gets unbearable, just let me know, boys. So yeah, Marco is great. 100% agree on that. In regards to the load, boys, like I don't really like recommend like too much like supplements for the dudes, like because some guys get so specifically like I've got to like take supplements, I've got to do this. I deal with a lot more like the psychological and the physical elements that go through this, man. But yeah, the mucker is going to help out a ton, just like with for like actually before to calm them down, and then also after. But no, I don't really have too much on this. I think even the question, it's like, what is it? Some girls have an ejaculation kink. Like, what do you actually mean by that, bro? And do you know what it is? I'm just telling dudes, like, just keep it simple. If these guys are having a good diet, like that's half the fucking battle, man. With this, I can drop a fucking ton of like other stuff another time, but I just want like guys to like start having a good diet more than going, I have to take this certain supplement or this pill. Like all the way, I just want to make as well. Like sometimes guys are in like gangbangs or they're like got multiple partners or they're trying to do things and they can't get it up. If they're doing like Viagra or they're using like thick pills like for like short-term stuff, it's okay. But if they're relying on things very long-term, then it's going to have a massive effect on their psychology. They have to rely on these supplements in this pharmaceutical industries.
Dude, no chick has ever been like, yeah, I really like this guy. He was good in bed. We had a good time, but his load size was just not as ample as I was hoping.
Yeah,
so
that's what I'm saying, bro. Like it's like, sorry, it's like this question is like, Mark Z. It's no offense, man, but if this is like the only challenge you're having in regards to dating or like sexuality, it's cool, man. And like, I'm just gonna fucking leave this one, man. I'm gonna bow out of this one.
You're like, do you treat yourself? Listen, like, wait until you see my load volume, okay? Like
that on your Tinder bio.
Yeah. Expert cuddler and very large load volume, 10 millimeters or more guaranteed. All right, let's move on to the next question. So, any differences running online game in a small city, 50K pop? It's going to be harder in a small city. Everything's going to be hard in a small city. So, big cities are going to be easier for every type of game. I think you guys agree with this?
Yeah, for sure. And try work your way around gaming in a small city rather just move to a big city. Yeah,
100%. I think literally any guy who's watching this video, unless like you're, for example, taking care of your sick grandma, like I think most guys have the ability to move. Like maybe not right away, but within a reasonable time frame. Like like I don't think I'll ever live in a small city in my life, to be honest, unless I'm like retiring or something. Like I haven't lived in a small city since I was 18. So yeah, I think it's just good to get out of small cities for various reasons. All right, so let's skip some of these questions because they're.
Should we shout out our different shit? We're at like 2 hours now. Should we shout out what we're?
Are you guys? Is anyone here on the time frame? Like you guys got bounced?
I have 2 girls waiting, but whatever.
What about you, Gabriel or Andrew?
Yeah, I need to go to my girls. Yeah.
Okay, so let's. We don't need to
wrap it up. I was just like shout it out and like keep going for whoever can.
All right, let's do that. And then if you guys need to bounce,
we can wrap up in 15 minutes. That'd be cool.
Let's do that. So let's take some more questions. We'll go for another about 15 minutes because I'm also starting to get a little tired. We'll go for another 15 minutes and then we'll plug everything in at the end.
Okay.
Okay. How many of these guys are good? Actually, I think that we should touch on this topic. I think that it's important. What are your thoughts on what's going on with Bradicus? We'll just touch on his issue. So I think that's a real shame that whether you like Bradicus or not, whether you agree with him or not, whether you think he's a pickup god or a total dipshit, I think it's a real shame that he's got banned off YouTube, banned off Instagram, banned off Facebook because it's literally just a form of censoring. Like, he wasn't doing anything that bad. So I just think it's a real shame that that happened.
He told me he would have came on the stream tonight, but he's with some chicks.
I feel like that's something that could happen to any one of us, and I hope it never does. But I think it's a real shame that that's kind of the reality is that if SJWs mass report you can get. I personally lost my Facebook group, which was definitely not fun, especially because it was at like 10,000. So yeah, it's unfortunate. That's why I urge you guys, if you're watching this and you guys want to support us, then subscribe to not just our YouTube channels, but also subscribe to our email list, right? Subscribe to our, forums, so that if God forbid something does happen to one of our channels, we can still reach out to you guys and communicate value.
Yeah, and someone should like I had a guy volunteer and go through and back up everything on BitChute.
Oh, I do that weekly. I back up all my videos.
Yeah. I just had someone go through and do it because I hadn't done that with any of them, but now it's all backed up.
Word. All right, so let's touch on this. What strategies and how much going out time do you need to get from intermediate to advanced level?
I think the coaches matter a lot more. I'm getting guys advanced in a matter of like a couple of weeks now that come to me as like newbies, or even I'm getting virgins up to the level of like I can make this kind of like shocked me. So I had a virgin came on my program. He was 28. He has been trying since he was 18. Hadn't gotten anywhere. I was like, we'll probably get it in the first week. He got it on day 4. He lost the virginity on day 4. But by like week 3, he was having more dates than I was, because I wasn't even devoting a lot of time to this, to new dates, because I'm working on a bunch of other stuff. And he also he went through like my how to have sex stuff. And his first time that he ever had sex, he said the chick was like blown out of the water. She's like, oh my God, is this real life? And she was like, this is like some of the best sex I've ever had, just because he went through all my like technique stuff on how to hit their G spots and give them a lot of orgasms, all that stuff. So I think it's like, once you have a good teacher, you can like nail sex out of the gate. Like once you have a good teacher, you can like start running your dates properly. And if you make some little mistakes, they can course correct you. So having like the proper strategy, I think is like most of the battle. Whereas the way everyone approaches it in the community is like take massive action for like years and years and years and get nowhere. So like massive action is actually like totally retarded if it's not directed in the right way, because you're just practicing stuff that doesn't work, or you're practicing stuff that's like really cementing really terrible behaviors. And not only is a lot of that information out there like not working, but it's putting most guys into like a worse position, which is really sad. I mean, that's why I'm constantly ranting on my channel. But
nice, JMULV. I didn't know you were teaching some sex stuff. So what are you teaching these dudes? Because like I always encourage guys like pick up companies if they've got like a lot of knowledge they feel comfortable to teach some basics, man, to the guys, because it helps their confidence so much when they get to take a girl home.
It's just the video that I have on YouTube. It's running through all my positions that I normally do, hitting their G spot in each position, different considerations, like if they're gonna bust too soon, or like this and that, using the Tachi, like all the different considerations. It's like a 25-minute video, but he just like watched that a few times, and he's like coming out of the gate just like nailing sex. And it's really that simple. And it's like that with everything else. Like on my 3-day programs where I'm teaching night game, guys are getting the first pulls of their life typically on night 1. And they're like, wow, like I was trying this for 10 years. And after you hear that like hundreds of times, you're like, yeah, I can't believe you haven't booted. If this was my live, I would have booted like half these kids already.
But as I'm sure you've noticed, I'm not a big fan of censoring even the trolls, although sometimes I feel like I have no
John,
choice. Definitely
link me to that video, man. It'd be cool to see what you're doing with the sex stuff, man. That'd be really cool.
Yeah, but with each piece of game, like once you teach it the right way, guys can literally just start executing. It's not like you can always nail it perfect out of the gate, but you're going to get the 80-20 very fast, and then you're going to fill in the minor details with iterative help.
What do you think, Gabriel?
Yeah, for sure. It's just having the right teacher, having the right coach. I think people underestimate theory and how important theory is, because all they do is consume theory and don't do anything. But if you have the right theory and you take the exact right action that's needed, you're going to get results. I mean, most guys just don't know what they're doing. They don't know how to analyze the interactions. Even intermediate guys, they don't know how to analyze the interactions. They don't know what they're doing right. How can you improve if you don't know what you're doing wrong? You don't know what you're doing right. You don't have any principles to make it better.
Look at the forums. It's just the blind leading the blind. So like everyone's like point of reference. That's why guys tell me like, oh, look, you shouldn't be taking girls out to dinner and you shouldn't be double texting, but they're not closing 100 girls a year, et cetera, et cetera. So it's like what everyone repeats dogmatically as the mantras aren't even necessarily correct. But yeah, there's no way to evaluate under what lens. Like I've literally walked into like group me chats There'll be a couple hundred people, and I can see some of the latest questions after you join. And someone will say like, hey, my date didn't close on the first date. And then someone says, as a general rule, dates take at least 2 dates to close. And then all these people were like, oh, thanks.
Who the fuck says that?
And I see stuff like that all the time.
The first date.
I see stuff like that all the time. And I used to like aggressively like battle those guys and be like, no, I can give you like shitloads of data that says otherwise, and like really make a solid argument. Everyone just goes into like standard trolling and stuff. So it's really like the fact that everyone sucks is partially not their fault because they're getting bad information. But then like the forums there's no like leaders because the leaders are driven away by like a whole bunch of fags like we have in the group tonight.
Well, the PWF forums are still very solid. I used to post in the Swoop the World forums before my channel started taking off. And I remember I would literally write these like very detailed write-ups and literally like 90% of the guys there would try to troll me and hate on my shit. And I was like, okay, can you point out one thing specifically? You say my game is horrible, I'm a total trailer, but can you point out one specific thing that I wrote that you disagree with? And they never could. They would just say that, my shirt is fucking weird, or like my haircut is weird. Like, it must be a joke. So I've just learned as the channel grew is that there's nothing you can do for those guys. So just I'll let them fucking keep doing what they're doing. If they like it, then good for them. All right. So to quickly answer this question, how much time you need from intermediate? It depends how you define advanced. What some guys would call advanced, I would call almost a beginner. And what some guys call intermediate, I would say, like, dude, you're actually pretty solid. It just depends how you define advanced. But there's no like magic, like it's not like it's really about how you define it yourself. Like there's no one who's like, there's not an official rating system that's like, you're now advanced, like, like boxing or something like that. It's not like you gain this title when you reach a certain hero. So yeah, it's like really vague. So I don't even think of it. Like I don't.
You could define it as like in quantitative terms, as like your success rate, like for amount of approaches, how many you close, for amount of matches.
Sure, but what I'm saying is there's no mutually agreed upon definition. So it's just super basic. All right, let's jump to let's do like 1 or 2 more questions, and then we'll plug everything. Need advice? Got overall feedback from a few communities that doing all wrong. Committed 200 to a photo shoot, 200 for bulking program. Don't know what product to buy for my game. Looking to experience before girlfriend. All right. So I'll just say 200. Like again, it's just a super big question. 200 bulking program. I mean, I don't know what program it is. Could be something that's accurate. You could honestly get. Bulking is a very general thing. You could find a lot of information about it for free on YouTube. I don't know if your photo shoot's going to come out good or it's going to suck balls. So, everyone here has very solid products, and we all stand behind our work. So I think it's just as simple as that. All right, let's do one good question before we call this.
Yo, Alex.
Yeah, what's up, man?
Can we say this as well with the bulking program? Just for this dude, like I'm all about SMV, yeah. But let's just be fucking. Gabe and I talk about like me and Gabe are fucking skinny dudes. I'll take myself out of the equation. Gabe, fuck man, like he's not jacked by no means, like at all, man. But
I'm going to the gym. Like, what the hell?
But the thing is, all these dudes where they're saying I have to be jacked, I have to do this. It's like when you have like strong technicals like Gabe does, like dude. It's like this stuff is irrelevant. And like the thing is, it's like I've seen it, witnessed it because the guy was living in my fucking house, man. And that's why I like see this shit. And like I'm even looking at Gabe sometimes going, bro, it's like kind of like that, like the nerdy kind of archetype, like guys would see that. And he's the one pulling these results because his technicals are so on point. He knows exactly what he's doing. And I'm not saying being jacked and like being ripped is not great at all, but I'm saying it's like people focus so much attention just on that one nuance. I'd just love to open a little bit of discussion before we move on.
Hold on. Bradicus is available. Do we want to bring him in?
We're just about to call it, man. I mean, he waited too long. I would say this though.
Some people think he's like in Mexican prison.
Yeah, he's not. I would say this. Gabriel, yes, I'm sure he crushes it. But I would make the argument that if Gabriel was super ripped, he would crush it even more. Like. So again, I just say focus on maximizing everything, right? There's some guys who just think that I can't approach until I get to like this level of fitness, which is silly. But then completely ignoring fitness is also silly. Like I can tell you from firsthand, I'm 170 pounds now. I was 135 pounds. My game hasn't changed that much in the last few years, like maybe small things, but it's generally been around the same level. But, like just the reactions I get from girls when I take my shirt off are completely different. It's like before it was like, now it's like, like, so, so definitely.
I'm all for that. I was just like saying as well, like seeing that, and like if Gabe like was jacked as well, but then people are like, oh, you're only getting girls now because you're jacked. Well, it's not true.
Yeah, I mean, I know plenty of really jacked guys that get no pussy, so it's not just like you get jacked and you automatically get laid. But it's certainly like, something that you can leverage. Just like status. I know guys with status who get no pussy, but it's a lot easier to get pussy.
I'm going to the gym now 5 times a week, so hopefully things change.
That's right.
Let us know your statistics.
Yeah. All right, so let's do one more question, and then let's do this important question. No, I'm just kidding. There's a lot of troll questions, so I want to get to like a solid question.
You just put up one of the troll questions.
Jesus Christ. I want to do one good question. Okay.
Is it mainly trolls, man, or?
Yeah, there's just a lot. Well, some guys are just shooting the shit. There's like a lot of weird trolls. Like John, I was saying this earlier when you were talking to your girl, is that like some guys in here in the group chat legitimately think that all 4 of us are in some kind of epic frame battle and we're trying to own each other or one up each other. When in reality, we're just like all people who like and respect each other who are just trying to do a good like fucking podcast. It's like guys think there's some kind of like conspiracy going on here, like a behind the scenes epic battle. I don't even know. Okay, so let's end it off on this question.
Well, if Karisma King had came, that might have been a little different. But go ahead,
dude. Denton is a good guy, man. You got to chat with him more. I think you'll like him as you.
I've heard from a lot of his students that he's afraid to approach. So we go ahead.
All right. How do you keep attraction alive in a relationship and keep her attached? So I want. I want you guys go, and I'll just end it off.
I think it's good to just do like fun shit. Like keep yourself attracted still. Like do date stuff, do planning stuff, do like fun adventures. I get like really close with a lot of my chicks. Like guys just think like I'm just like trying to hit big numbers. I prioritize a rotation girl. The count could actually be way higher if I was just going like crazy just for new closes. I usually prioritize rotation girls because I get pretty close to a lot of them.
Yeah, me as well.
So like it's just do shit like where you're like laughing. Where if you have a problem, like sit down and discuss it. All the simple stuff, like make sure you keep the sex interesting and not boring. But like like there's like so much to do with a girl besides bang her. So just keep things fun and I think communication is super important, even though it's like a gay answer. It's like if you just find out like what they're not happy about and you try to work on it.
No, dude, 100% agree with that. Communication is huge. That's one of the most important parts of any relationship. For sure. Anyone who thinks communication is, gay is a retard. What do you think, Gabriel?
I mean, ultimately, live an exciting life, live an interesting life that you would want to be part of. Be entertained, keep the emotions going. There's other specific things that you can do in a relationship, but yeah, keep it fun, keep it exciting.
For sure. Andrew?
Yep.
Yeah, I just want to like all that's so super cool. I just want to keep it simple, man. Like when you're with a chick, it's like, and you're like, say you've been on a few dates and you're digging her and you have this connection. Like it's so simple, but just telling a chick why you like her and what you're fucking experiencing about it and like what you enjoy about hanging with her. I think dudes like that is so fucking fundamental. Even in the bedroom, like dude just going, yo, I fucking like this connection. I like what we got going down. Guy, like you'll be surprised as we know, like how many guys actually struggle to even say shit like that. And that's going to help for the fucking long term. I'm not going to say specifics because we're wrapping shit up, but it's like in short, tell a woman why you like her and specifically why you like her and not as a routine, speak from your heart. And I've just seen that like chicks go, fuck, I can't wait to see you again.
Yeah, wait, just jump in really, really fast one more time off what you said there. I read a book called The Relationship Cure. by this guy, Joseph Ledoux. It's like 20 years of empirical relationship research. And it all boiled down to just three things. It's that people connect verbally and gesturally through bids for connection that are either towards each other, against, or away. And he said that the strongest relationships, friendships, coworker situations, for any kind of relationship between humans, it's the strongest when people are turning towards the most. And the ones that are like the most chaotic and that end and all this other stuff are very negative. They have the against and away. So against is like sarcasm, like raising your voice, insulting. Away would be like changing the subject, ignoring, etc. Just kind of like this distant behavior. And the towards is like smiling, like encouraging, like wanting to know more, like this and that. It really is that simple. But if you look at any relationship you have with anyone in any capacity, it just, when you like boil down how many towards versus how many away against, the ones that are the most towards, it's like a direct correlation to how strong it is. So like whenever you're having relationship problems with anyone, it's good to try to remind them to try to be more positive and work on those away against things. But then you also have to be quick to cut people off. I cut people off all the time. If it's just like a negative thing for your life, or they're crossing boundaries to do whatever, you just cut them off. So same thing with girls. So if they can't get like kind of in a positive place where you guys are like a team, then this needs to be cut off.
Good answer. I would just add, kind of reiterate what I was saying earlier. I really never try to game girls who are in my rotation or girlfriends or whatever. Like I just treat them literally like I treat my friends. The only difference is there's sexual humor, sex, and whatever, ass grabbery and whatnot. But yeah, so I'm not trying to I think there are some good principles like good communication, doing fun shit, leading an interesting life that girl wants to be part of. Like, any girl who I'm seeing very much knows about playing with fire. And honestly, some of these, quite often they'll be like, oh, I saw your latest video. Can't believe you said that. And they're like fans. They like my shit. They're interested. They want to hear stories about this. It's a fairly interesting thing. But you don't have to be a pickup coach. Just like anything you do, if you leave an interesting life, girl's going to want to be a part of it. If all you do, you just live for the girl, then that's not that exciting. So yeah, that's kind of my take on that.
Yeah, right, so I was gonna say, Alex, just on that, really short. I always try and set up. I go, how can I set up a best friend who I fuck? That's always my mindset. And then the game kind of stops. It's yo, how can I just keep doing my life? Strong boundaries, all the shit we've discussed today. Best friend who I fuck. That's my mindset.
People ask should you game your girlfriend? I think people just have the wrong perception of the word game, because should you apply communication skills and social dynamics with the girl that you're seeing? Of course, you should. You can always keep applying certain things. When maybe it sounds too manipulative, should you game your girlfriend? But should you apply communication strategies? Should you apply social dynamics principles? Yes, to better the relationship, of course, for you and her.
Yeah, I agree with that. I was defining, just to be clear, the word game differently. All right. Any final thoughts, or before we wrap it, guys, on this topic?
All good.
All right, awesome. So let's just go in order. So Gabriel, if people want to follow you, learn more about you, check out your content, how can they reach you?
Yeah, let's keep it simple. Just check out Gabriel Grey on YouTube. And from there, in all the videos, you'll see links to my Facebook group, the website. If you're interested in coaching, boot camps, anything like that, all the information's on the website. So yeah, check out Gabriel Grey on YouTube.
Awesome, man. What about you, Andrew?
I was gonna say, boys, it's been fucking awesome, man. I just want to say thanks, guys, and yeah, for all the troll comments, it's we have a deep respect for each other about and it's mutual across the board. I just want to say, yeah, boys, it's been really awesome hanging out and having this chat today. Just so if you want to get in contact with me, it's just really simple, guys. Just go Sexual Quantum Leap. Put that on Google or YouTube. It'll come up straight away. And
we're gonna link everything in the description as well.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I said thanks again, Alex, and thanks, guys. It's been really awesome.
Dude, of course, man. John, what about you?
Cool. So my YouTube is John Anthony Lifestyle, and then PlatinumDatingSystem.com. That's our mentorship site. We have limited spots left in that 8-week mentorship. PlatinumDatingSystem.com. There's a free 30-minute consultation call where we can diagnose your game, tell you how we can make you advance very quickly. And guys are just annihilating. Virgins coming in 8 lays by the end of the program, unheard of. It's like they're just smashing up like intermediate and advanced guys' results. A lot of the versions that we're churning out are coming out. I would like in terms of our ratings of advanced, intermediate, they're coming out in the advanced category, which I didn't. I tried to build it so it would do that, and I didn't think it would actually hit there, but it's just through the rigorous iterative upgrade of their game and all the weak spots on a multi-week basis. Just really, I think, is the secret. The 3-day programs aren't long enough to address all the different things that need to be addressed. So yeah, platinumdatingsystem.com, John Anthony Lifestyle, YouTube are my 2 things.
All right, awesome. Yeah, so
thank you guys for doing this. We should do this more often. I think we should. I'd be down to do this if it was at a better time. I'd be down to do it more often. These chicks, like one of them, just like fucking fell asleep in there. Like go wake them up.
100%. So I just want to say, make sure you guys follow their YouTube channels. Everyone here has great content that I vouch for. Also check, make sure you subscribe to the PWF channel. And yeah, we should definitely do these more often. I think this was a really fun event. I enjoyed doing this more than I think it's almost more fun than a one-on-one because we're just kind of going in a circle here. So next time we can pick a different topic and just narrow in on that. Also, so we'll definitely do more of these panels. I want to have you guys all on again, and I think this is good. Like, there's a lot of value that was discussed here. Like, this is like a free mastermind for the guys. So I think there's a lot of good value amongst different topics here that doing something good for the community, which is good.
Awesome.
All right. Awesome. Thank you everyone for coming on. Thank you guys for joining. Thank you trolls for trolling. And we'll do another one of these in the near future. And then
go ahead.
You guys can also let me know what you want to see more of and what you want to see less of, just by either emailing me or letting me know in the comments what you enjoyed about this, what you guys want to see more of, because I try to do these videos. So again, like I try to very much, make it based on what people want. So let me know what you guys want. If you don't let me know, I don't know.
I want to see more of your balls. Actually, that's a site I have. I'm just gonna let the cat out of the bag. From when we were banging like chicks, we were bringing girls over in groups of 2. I accidentally saw Alex's balls. It can never be unseen again.
Yeah, I think we can leave it off on that end.
Modern life dating roast tomorrow. Don't miss it.
I look forward to it. All right, awesome guys. Thank you everyone for tuning in. I'll talk to you guys later.